Hello and welcome to another episode of the Uncommon Energy Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to be recapping the results from the Monterey Regional Championships and then also the Malaysian Master Ball League, both major tournaments that happened this past weekend. We're going to take a look at City League Watch because they've got a brand new set out and legal. That's right, the Team Rocket set, Glory of Team Rocket is out in Japan now and legal for tournament play. So we're going to look at some early results and see how dominant Mewtwo has been because everyone knows that deck is just going to be broken, right? And then we are going to, of course, have Guess That Flavor Text, everyone's favorite segment to the podcast. We're going to wrap up this week by talking about the slew of tournaments this coming weekend. The Seville Regional Champion, or is it regionals? It's a regionals, right? Not a special event.
Oh, it is a special event.
Is a special event. Seville special
Yeah.
event happening this weekend. There is a Master Ball League tournament happening in the Philippines, and then also another special event happening in Johannesburg, South Africa. Lots of Pokemon happening this weekend, and we are excited to see what's going to happen. We're going to talk about the meta moving forward. If you've got League Cups and stuff like that coming up as well, we'll kind of give our thoughts and opinions on those things, just the meta in general. And then we're going to wrap up this week by, of course, having our bonus episode available exclusively to our YouTube channel members and Spotify subscribers. My name is Chip Ritchie, and I'm joined here as always by my friend and co-host Azul GG. What's up, Azul? How we doing, buddy? How has your week been?
Pretty good. Wasn't here over the weekend. Took a trip back home. Spent some time with the family. It's been a little while, so it was good to make that trip back. And yeah, I mean, I got to streaming today. Took a look at the Monterey results. Definitely some stuff to talk about there. I think I will say shout out to with that in mind. Shout out to Christian Fontenot for phone streaming. They don't have like a stream setup for Monterey, but they have like a live viewing area where there's like a featured match with like a TV that you can watch if you're in the venue. Of course, if you didn't go to the tournament, you're not in the venue. So Christian Fontenot and we had Eric Ridgway did this for Merida. Christian Fontenot took up the torch at Monterey and was doing the best he could to provide a stream. So that was cool to have some kind of content from the tournament because it really does feel like we should be having a stream for all these major Latin American tournaments that are happening. Uh, Feels kind of bad to not have a tournament stream. But I think when I tuned into it, because I took a look at it over the weekend, you couldn't really see much. Yeah, shout out for the effort for sure. Um, it was hard to see anything, but better something than nothing, I guess I would say. There's like
Yeah,
500 people. There's like 500 people live when I tuned in, I think.
it really is. It just makes you realize what a bummer it is that these big tournaments aren't being broadcast. I mean, you've got in the finals, Brent Tonneson, who has been traveling the entire world for the past 2 seasons, playing in basically every single major event that has happened, going up against the defending world champion, like such a sick storyline. And the defending world champion is playing Blissey of all things. So sick, and we don't get to see it captured. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Shout outs to Christian for trying to make something happen, but it really does feel bad that there's not just like a proper broadcast for these things because it's so sick what's happening all over the world.
Yeah, definitely is, and we can only hope that next year. I think it will eventually happen where TBCI, like the same kind of production level and that we see over in Europe and in America/Canada, is gonna come to Latin America eventually. I think we're just kind of waiting for TBCI to like take that next step. So maybe it's next season, maybe it's the season after, but I think it'll happen eventually, for sure. But besides that, my week was pretty low key, pretty similar to everything else that's been going on. So nothing too crazy for me. What about you, Chip? How was the week?
Yeah, pretty good. Nothing too crazy happening. We're actually I don't think I've talked about this on the actual podcast. I know I've mentioned it on the bonus episode a couple months ago, but we have baby number 2 on the way, and my wife Brooke is due like beginning of May. So we've just been really spending the last couple of weeks really ironing out the last few things. You know, this is baby number 2, so we feel like got like the framework of what we need to do, but then we're getting closer and closer to that date. So it's becoming much more real. We just moved Samuel, my son, over to his big boy room out of the nursery because we're going to, of course, need the nursery for the baby when the baby gets here. And he was so excited about it, like was genuinely so pumped to like have his own room and like a big boy bed and stuff like that. And has been sleeping like a rock every single night because he's just like so pleased, and it's like just such a sweet thing. But other than that, really nothing super crazy going on. We've got um I've still been working on like organizing the tons of cards in my office that I talked about that last week, I think. And then also I have still been playing PTCG Pocket, still trying to get to Master Ball rank. There was like a while where I like played a lot, and then the last couple weeks it's like I'll play one or two games a day when I think about it, and that's about it. I kind of got hard stuck for a while in Ultra Ball 2 where it was like you win one, you go to up 10 points, you lose one, you go down seven. And I was like winning two and then losing three, winning two, losing three. And that like happened for a while. And I was just like losing progress little by little by little. And I finally just switched to playing what the best deck is, which is Dark Red Giratina. And I think I'm currently on like a 10-game win streak because the deck is just broken. It is like playing it in TCG Pocket right now feels like I don't know what like a good TCG game comparison is. Not quite like Broken Lugia, but it's maybe something like I don't know, like in expanded when Maxi's Evil Tall was the best deck, you know, like you just can beat whatever your opponent has no matter what, and it's just the best deck. Like it just is by far. And it's kind of a little bit of a bummer because you end up playing against the mirror quite a bit, which is less interesting, but I'm my goal is by next podcast episode to have Master Ball because we are coming up on I think the end of the season is actually next Monday. So I guess I have to do it by then if I'm gonna do it, you know. So hopefully I can make that happen.
Yeah, so it is like you have outs to everything. Nothing feels unbeatable.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't actually I haven't like built. I've been keeping up. I'm doing my dailies, opening the packs
Well,
and stuff like that.
you're
But
doing
I
your
haven't
dailies as
actually.
in opening your packs, right? You're not
Yeah,
like
I haven't been playing any at all. I only ever have like I like play like I play the PTCG live a lot. I only ever like play besides that if there's like a if the game is competitive. I only ever have like I guess I just like it's not that I don't have interest in the idea of doing it, but like I only play one game competitively at a time, or that you
yeah.
can be competitive. And it's for me right now, it's Marvel Rivals. So like whenever I have free time, I go play ranked on Marvel Rivals. But I only ever do one game at a time. Like before it was League of Legends, but I would never do anything else. But the Pocket would be one of the would be like something I'd be competitively invested into. So I just like can't do it. It's like too much because I like to put my all well, I can't really put my all into a thing. I have to put my all of what free time I have left into one thing. So I haven't really
What's your Marvel Rivals rank?
right now. Well, the season just reset. I ended Grandmaster last season, which
Okay.
isn't. It's not that high.
Okay.
It sounds higher than it actually is, but it's like okay.
I just looked up the list and it goes bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, grandmaster, then celestial, then eternity, and then one above all. What the heck? The
Yeah,
highest rank limited to the top 500 players.
yeah, yeah. Grandmaster is like it's not really. I could start to I would did start to feel like for anyone who like played like League of Legends, you'll probably get what I'm saying. I did start to feel myself like plateauing once I got to Grandmasters, where I was like, okay, I need to actually make some real improvements to actually climb here. Yeah, once I hit Grandmaster, I plateaued pretty hard in terms of like my skill level compared to everyone else around me. So,
I
but
wish you could feel that in a Pokemon game
yeah,
ranked mode somehow. Like that feeling of like
like I need to get better to actually advance.
yeah,
Like,
and maybe you
what am I
do
missing?
experience that, like, in the, like, mid ELO levels of Arceus League, I guess that's, like, possible, but, um, I don't know. Maybe you just don't feel that maybe it's hard for you to feel that in a Pokemon game because you are, like, the top end of what someone could play against, you know?
Yeah, that is possible. It'd be maybe hard for me to have that experience for sure. But I feel like I don't even have to like to climb in like Arceus ladder. I don't even like have to like lock in that hard. So I feel like, but I feel like it would be hard to like replicate that for PTCG live because there's just not that many people who play ranked,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's always gonna be, like, a problem there. Um,
Somehow we still ended up on our weekly topic of discussing PTCG Live Ranked.
yeah. So, yeah, PTCG Live, I feel like there's just not enough people on the ladder, but they could try and make it. Yeah, but actually, I do think things are improving. I think there's more people climbing up to higher ranks in Arceus and trying harder. I mean, the game's growing, more people are getting into it, so that's obviously like going to be one of the things that comes with that. So we'll see what the future holds for like the player base being big enough to really make the ladder better and better. I mean, we already have people like praising the ladder, like Raz from Worlds last year, getting top four, top eight. I think it was top four. Henry winning the Baltimore, the first regional of the season or whatever. Like they were like, I just played a lot of ladder, right? Like I was just grinding ladder. So um, we still have people already out there being like, yeah, I mean, ladder's good enough to, top four worlds and win a regional. So until the skill ceiling of the Pokemon TCG rises considerably, it sounds like the ladder's good enough for anyone to be able to get a good prep in for these major tournaments. So it'll only get
Definitely.
better as the game is continue to grow. And people like take it. I feel like another thing with that though is like people need to take the ladder serious and be like, "Oh, this is a really good tool for getting better. I wanna just try and grind and see how far I can get in the ladder, see how high I can climb." The more serious that the players take it, the better tool it'll be.
Yeah. I think that a good way for that to happen is for there to be incentives, like an end of season incentive. The top 100 players get like an exclusive deck box or card sleeves or something like that,
Or championship points,
or
you know?
championship points.
I feel like
Yeah.
we're close though. I feel like the client's close to maybe having that be a reality. I don't think we're too far away from being like, and obviously there's gonna be bugs and stuff, but there was bugs in Hearthstone and they still gave out, a lot of I don't know, I think it was just like it was either championship points or like imitate like you got like points if you're in the top 10 or the top 100 or whatever. Like and there was bugs in Hearthstone. They were a little bit faster about fixing them, a little bit more aggressive, of course. Of course that's Blizzard and that they make video games. That's what they do. So they're gonna be a little bit better than TPCI's, new team that is making a video game, but that would be a pretty good incentive, right? If you could earn like let's say you could earn 50 championship points total on the ladder, and if you get top 100 at the end of the season, you get 10 points. Right? And it's a cap of 5. Like even that so little, that's such a small amount, but that would be a huge incentive for people to get on
Yeah.
and play on PDCG live. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
think we're too far away from that being realistic in terms of the client being good enough to like potentially do that. So
And I have to feel like that is probably one of the things holding it back is like the worry of what's up with the client,
yeah,
the
people
game
may be
itself.
abusing stuff as well, but, I can't even remember the last time I had, like, a game-breaking bug. On Tuesday last week, there was maintenance. I think I had a game or 2 where it just kinda froze, but it was one of those situations where it's like they're doing live maintenance at the moment, so, they're actually dude, they've had a ton of actually tomorrow. Well, today, as people are listening to this, they're taking like PCC live down again on Wednesday for like 8 hours. I might not even stream today. This has been like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. I feel like, or maybe like 3 times in 4 weeks. Where and Wednesday, like usually, like they have like weekly maintenance on Tuesdays, where when you log into PCC Live, it's like currently routine maintenance is going on. You might experience some disruptions in like matchmaking service. So like you can still play the game, but like sometimes the game will just like freeze or be a little buggy, and that's due to that. But
Mhm.
now we're having like we've had like a ton of big 8 hour maintenance windows. It usually isn't fully 8 hours because like it's supposed to stop at like 5 p.m. my time, but it usually stops at like 1 or 2. So it's usually like 4 hours, it feels like, I think. But yeah, there's been a lot of them recently. One of the first one, obviously, most recently was for the new set coming into the game, but it feels like there's been like almost every single week since then. There's been another one, but it doesn't feel like that much is changing. So I don't know what they're doing. Maybe some big changes are coming. I don't know. Who knows? But there's another one tomorrow, so I might not even stream tomorrow or later today.
Well, let's just hop into our first topic here, which is to talk about the results from the Monterrey Regional Championships. Took place this past weekend down in Mexico. And I mean, some pretty crazy meta developments, I would say, based on the like if you um listened to last week's episode and then didn't follow anything that happened in the Pokemon TCG world, and then you're tuning into this episode, you're gonna be like, "What the heck happened in this past week?" Because there's some crazy, interesting decks. I mean, maybe not the craziest thing is the fact that Gardevoir did win, 2 tournaments in a row, so I guess that's not wild, but, the big standout here absolutely has to be the Blissey from the defending world champ Fernando Cifuentes, gets his first top cut of the season and, makes a big stamp with this Blissey deck. Now, there is also the results from the Malaysian Master Ball League. Let's just start with those really fast because we don't
Yeah.
have all the data. But shout outs to PokeStats for compiling this. I believe Cash is usually the one dealing with these Southeast Asian tournaments. So appreciate him kind of compiling these things. And that tournament was actually won by Dusknor. Ashen is the player's name. And yeah, a pretty normal looking Dragapult Dusknor list.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Like looking at this right now, pretty similar to what we just saw Hedrick place, second place with most recently. But
The
even outside of
brew.
that,
Mhm.
I say even outside of that, not too crazy, not too different from what we had seen recently.
Yeah,
Does
the
have the
jamming
jamming.
tower is kind of the new thing, and that's
Yeah.
not that crazy to see because I think that was kind of like a natural meta evolution almost, right?
Yeah, yeah.
J j
I talked about it a lot throughout the weekend of Atlanta. It was like jamming tower, and that's what we've been seeing a little bit from happening in Japan over at the Champions League. Prior was jamming tower was popping up a lot in the Dragapult decks in their Heat Wave Champions League that happened not that long ago.
Gotta just point out as well the sweet swag that they get for winning these Master Ball League tournaments. I mean, that trophy, pretty dope with the Mewtwo. Those exclusive sleeves as well. I
Oh,
think
really?
that yeah, it's got Master Ball League stamped on it as well. I
Oh, that
don't
is
know if
cool.
it's like just for playing in them or if only the winners or certain placement get them. I have to imagine it's like a certain placement type thing.
And what
But
is that
then
Enzorg?
the Enzorg has the Master Ball League
Ooh.
stamp on it, and that is an exclusive thing that only I think top 4 gets these, I'm
Is
pretty
that in
sure.
English too?
It
Am
is
I
in English, yeah.
wait, what is the card back? Could we play that?
Yes, yes, that is the
Oh,
max
those are
rarity version of Enzorg. So if you're looking to bling out your Enzorg deck,
I can get 4
those
of
things
those.
are a few $1,000s, so have fun.
Yeah. Those are see, those kinda that kinda stuff is sick, bro. That's, like, one thing I feel like we've been saying this. That's what one thing that's kinda missing from the TPCI circuit right now is, like, just more card we have the regional entry promo, but, like, placement promos, stuff like that, like, that's a big thing that I feel like is missing right now from the TPCI circuit. It's just more, exclusive major event promos, like,
Yeah,
for placement.
and I think, like, English is, like, one of the main languages spoken in Malaysia, I'm pretty sure. So, um yeah, like, all this
Oh,
guy's
yeah,
cards
the
are in
whole yeah, I didn't
English,
even notice.
yeah.
I just noticed the Zoroark. I didn't really, like, look too hard at the deck, but yeah, all the cards are in English, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, English is definitely, like I don't think it's, like, their national language. I think they have, like, a unique national language, but I'm pretty sure English is, like that's true for a lot of like, I think Singapore is that way as well, where English is, like, the main language that's spoken, um, but yeah, very cool to see, and that's, like, where that I mean, I'm sure have you seen people talk about the Mew Master Ball promo card?
Mm-mm, I have not.
Um,
What
I'm gonna
Mew is it?
pull it
Mew
up.
EX?
Yeah, it's Mew EX, and if you search it, where is Wancho's post? Wancho has told me about how he gets DMs all the time of people trying to buy this card from him because he, like, tweeted a picture of it.
Hmm,
Uh,
how much are they going for?
oh, they're thousands of dollars, and
Oh
that one is
my god.
unique too because, there's a lot of people who try to like, 151 in specific. There's a ton of people who, like, are like, go for the master set
Yeah.
of 151, and that's what you gotta get to get the master set is this exclusive to Asia Master Ball promo. And then there's also, like, this Voltorb. Yeah, here you go. It's Ultra Ball League is stamped Mew.
Mm,
This is it right
yeah.
here. Yeah, he said that, like, he gets, um like, several messages a week of people trying to because he has multiple of them now, I'm pretty sure because he's made multiple he and his partner have made multiple top 4s
Awarded to
at
the
these
top 4 of the
tournaments.
tournament. Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's really exclusive then.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, I'm sure it happens for all but this is like it's not is this is are most of the I'm just thinking, are most of them gonna be English and are all of them English?
They're
Yes.
all English.
Okay, they're all gonna be English then, right? Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't know, like, the languages over in these, countries over in Asia. But, I mean, that's the and I generally am not a big fan of, like, stamped cards, but, like, that logo the logo these logos are clean, so it kind of I feel like it adds to the card, whereas I feel like some of the stamps in the past have been kinda ugly, so it just makes the card look ugly, but, like, if I had one of these, I would play it. Well, maybe if it's not worth, like, a couple $1,000, but
Yeah. Maybe you wouldn't play this one,
yeah,
but
maybe I wanna play this one, but something with a stamp like that, I think does look actually pretty
do you
clean.
like the play Pokemon logo, like the prize pack stamps? Like, do you play those cards ever?
No, I'm not as big of a fan of that one. No, not the price pack ones, not as
Basically,
big.
only if it's like that's the only way to get it as non-hollow, right?
Yeah, yeah. Usually the only time I'm rocking them.
But yeah, congrats to Ashin for the win in Malaysia for the Master Pro League. There was yeah, we do have the second place list, which is actually kind of an interesting one. And it's Roaring Moon
Yeah,
making a bit of a resurgence. Poison Package Roaring Moon. We talked about this deck a couple of weeks ago. Um, but Nick here proving that it is something that has a chance, in the current format.
yeah, the best way Roaring Mooney X still around. We see it here. We also see it in the Blissey deck, which we'll talk about here when we get over to Monterey. And my thoughts when I've seen this deck, what my thoughts have always been this I like the idea of the poison package in this more than basically anything else because I mean it just makes like that makes way more sense with how aggressive of a deck this deck can be. Um whereas something with like our Chaladon, I feel like you're trying to do so much with the Archaludon being in there, and then adding, like, this more aggressive package to a deck that doesn't, I feel like, synergize super well with it, but I think this makes a ton more sense, to be honest. Also, just I didn't even notice in this build actually is interesting. I guess maybe the math just doesn't line up against it. There's no mochis. I was gonna say, your Roaring Moon being able to 1-hit KO, like, uh maybe it still just works out for all the math, though. Over, like, Golden Go, though, you can't, KO a Golden Go with without using Frenzied Gouging, which you can do
Yeah.
with mochis. But yeah, there's no mochis in this build, which is interesting.
You do at least have those ancient booster capsules to try to boost your HP, but Golden Go is one of those decks
Yeah.
that will play the jamming tower, right?
Yep.
So that
Yep.
can kind of hurt you there, and they can, I guess Monkey Dory probably doesn't come up that much in that matchup for the Golden Go side of things, right? Because there's not really damage being left in play super
There shouldn't
often.
be, yeah. There shouldn't be, yeah.
I was gonna say that could be like a way they could sneak an extra prize, but that probably just doesn't actually end up coming up. But off of one of your Ionas, they only need one energy now to KO the Roaring Moon. It's not too bad, right?
Yeah, it does allow them to, like, get into a 1 prizer for a 2 prize knockout, which is not great. The Baby Golden Go,
Yeah.
or even the Drakloak, can make a play there, but, yeah, I definitely wanna give Roaring Moon a there's the what I mean, it's like a good thing and a bad thing. There's so many Pokemon decks I have just not played with. I haven't played with this deck, I haven't played with the Joltik box deck, which we'll talk about a little bit more here in the future, which is, like but I'm still playing a lot of Pokemon and still having fun with it. There's just so much Pokemon to play right now, so I absolutely love it.
Well, let's hop over and take a look at Monterey now. We mentioned Fernando's deck. We took a quick look at it. We'll look at it a little bit more in depth, but we got to start off like we normally do and just look at the deck that ended up winning it all. And it was Brent Tonneson with his first place Gardevoir deck. So a bit different than Henry Chow's list, but similar to what Brent actually played at
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple weekends before. So
Yeah, just 1 card different, -1 counter catcher, +1 Turo was the only change Brent made. So wasn't that impressed with the Zork edition that Henry brought, and decided to run it back. And on top of the change, I think some of the other big standouts here, some are not just additions, stuff that Brent's playing, but actually omissions. Like nobody Poffin in the list here from Brent, right? Is probably
yeah.
the biggest one. You look at the check, oh, nobody Poffin. And it does make now if you play the Zorua, Buddy Poffin obviously gains a lot of power if you're including the Zork. But also you just don't need as many Ralts in play. And finding your Monkey Dories, your Pheasantipity, your Clefairy, even your Screamtail, kind of on command by playing that high nest ball count does kind of make some sense. Another big omission here from Brent is no Muex, which is not just a potential draw power card to have a good draw power card to have in the deck, but also a really, really powerful attacker against Dragapult. But I mean, that's as far as I can tell, Brent thinks you don't need it, right?
Yeah.
Giving you
And
that
this
extra boost in that matchup.
And another unique thing about this list, we talked about it a little bit when we talked about this list last week, is it is a bit more aggressive with the draw power. There are 4 research in this build. You know, Henry played 2. He did play the 2 Morty's Conviction, but um, research just on average a bit more powerful of a draw supporter, right? And then there's also
Definitely.
the 1 copy of Grasping Draw Cleffa in here too.
Yeah. So I don't know. I would imagine matchups maybe like Raging Bolts, like up against Dragapults, and probably Mirror Match. Badu wants to be your go-to, slow things down. But I would imagine up against decks like Raging Bolts, maybe some of the Noctowl decks favor the draw power a little bit more heavily. Like Terra Box, they're probably going to be able to water pawn you if you Badu them. But doing them after they water pawn might even be more beneficial. So if you use Cleffa initially, play for the Candy Guard for, but then if you whiff it, you can then go back into the Badu or something like that. So having not played with it, I haven't truly felt out where Cleffa feels the best. But yeah, I mean, definitely an interesting build compared to everything else that's been going on. I would say it's like I would definitely say like this is the build from Henry was pretty unique, but then this build is also unique. They're both pretty different from I would say what the norm has been for Gardevoir um, across the board. And now I think we'll start to see probably this build and the Zoric build become the front runners for the best way to play Gardevoir. I don't know which one is best, but if you're looking to get back into Gardevoir, pick up Gardevoir. I mean, you can pick either of these. I think the Henry Chow build or the Brent Tonneson build, and then just go from there. I don't think you can go wrong with one or the other.
Looking at Brent's matches, it looks like he played against a ton of Dragapult
Yeah.
decks. Straight Pult builds, Dragapult Dusknoir builds, even Dragapult Charizard, even Dragapult Golden Go making its way in here as well.
Yeah, this is actually one thing I wanted to kind of see. I think Gardevoir, without a doubt, has a favorable Dragapult matchup, whether it be Dusknoir or not Dusknoir. You're favored. And you're probably going to be favored more against one than the other. I don't know which one is better for you, but you're favored against both for sure. You wouldn't hate to see like 13, 14 Dragapults on the day if you're playing Gardevoir. I would love to see the meta develop to the point where Dragapult starts to get pushed out of the meta because of how dominant Gardevoir is being. I don't think we've seen that step happen quite yet. And I think there's a lot of tools and ways to deal with Gardevoir in the format as well. So there would be stuff there to check Gardevoir. Iron Hands and Jamming Tower are kind of like the top two. But I wouldn't hate to see a meta where it feels kind of bad to play Dragapult because of how popular Gardevoir is. I wouldn't hate to see that evolution happen. But
Yeah.
and this might be the first step towards that here with Brent getting this dub. Um, one thing I did want to mention as well um, is this is the biggest tournament ever in biggest regional ever in Latin America. Actually, is this the biggest? Did they was LAIC ever been bigger than 1300?
We can check that
Actually,
real quick.
I assume it has, but I actually don't know for sure. Okay,
Yeah, so this past season's LIC was 1,800
okay, by
players.
quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah. The one before was 1,200 though. So
Okay, so I wasn't too far off.
outside of this past season's LAIC.
Just need this LA. Yeah, if LAIC had been canceled this year, I would have been correct, but
Um,
not this time.
how
Um,
many? Let me see what the numbers were looking like for some of these Brazil regionals, because there's definitely been some bigger ones in Brazil too.
Regionals, I don't think. I think this is the biggest regional in Latin America
Oh,
ever.
Well, Rio was 1,100, so
Yeah,
that's
not by
kind of
like
what
a
I was
lot,
thinking of. Yeah,
not by a ton, couple hundred more. Um,
Sao Paulo last year, 1,100. But yeah, still, yeah. I mean, it is the largest, and it does feel kind of like a. It is a little weird because like Mexico, for Pokemon purposes, is considered part of the Latin America region, right? But like geographically, you know, it's really not super close to like Brazil and Argentina,
yeah,
these places that that I think most people would usually think of Latin America, right? So, like, I don't know that you know what I mean though. Like, it's not like the best like direct comparison of like this is the largest Latin American regionals ever, but it's like it's a little separated from like like most of the what you think of as Latin American countries.
yeah. And I would say like that, like a lot more American players have been making their way down to these regionals in Mexico. But I will also say with that as well, though, they've been selling out, and they probably would have sold out no matter what, even if you got rid of some of the American players making their way down, right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And there's plenty of
um,
players coming up to this event as well from the you know, other Latin American
yeah, yeah, yeah,
countries, Chile, Brazil, Argentina, all represented in Top Cut,
yeah.
Peru.
Yeah, I think it's
Um,
just a big thing missing from these Latin American majors besides LIC. We did the streams, man. There's no, I mean, there's not no streams, but like, I want to see some. I want to see some of the official streams make their way to these Latin American tournaments because I feel like we're missing so much as like a community. People want to watch these tournaments go down, and like you said, the finals, the world champion versus the best player from Australia, someone who's been playing a lot, one of the most successful players over the last couple seasons, Brent. Like,
Yep.
yeah, we want to see that finals happen, man. It kind of sucks. Um, so hopefully next season they figure it out. But I've already said like I'm gonna commit to at least the regionals in Mexico. If there is no plan for a stream, I'm gonna try and I mean I'm gonna get my own stuff together and go down there as long as the TO will let me stream it. I'm gonna stream it next season. So if TPCI doesn't figure it out, I'll try and do my best to stream the Mexican regionals. I assume there'll be some more regionals in Mexico next season because they did this season. I'll try. I'll just try and do it myself. As long as the TO lets me, it'll come down to just getting in contact with the TO. But people want to see it.
We should have started off with this, but let's take a look at kind of the meta
Oh
share
yeah, we didn't
breakdown.
say we're getting
um,
a little bit ahead of ourselves.
yeah, and Dragapult does remain the most popular deck, and it's all variants of Dragapult grouped together here. And 26%, that's like the largest day one
Wait, is that
meta share we've seen in quite some time.
wait? Click day one.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Day one slash overall is the same thing.
Oh man, when I looked at it earlier, I thought it was like
Oh, the numbers do change. Oh,
um,
the
yeah,
records
yeah, yeah,
change because of the this
yeah.
is only accounting for the records of what happened in day one.
Yeah. Dude, I feel like maybe I was just trolling earlier, but yeah, pretty popular, right? 26, basically 27% of the meta is. Oh
Dragapult
yeah,
Dusknoir specifically is 20%.
yeah. And then yeah, plus which actually interesting. I thought it was gonna get closer to 50-50 because I think at the end of last format, Dusknoir versus no Dusknoir was pretty close to 50-50, especially in like day two conversion or like day two percentages. But so this one I'm actually a little bit surprised to see it still be so separated. Um, there's only 7% non-Dusknoir, 20% Dusknoir. And I'm also a little bit surprised to see that Raging Bolt was the second most popular deck. And I would love to call it out, but I got to give the Raging Bolt players some props here because they pulled through. If you look at day two, uh, the conversion, what percentage it was in day two, I think it went up actually. They had a positive, yeah, it went from
Yeah.
14 to 15%. So Raging Bolt players, every once in a while they surprise you, they come through.
And they're solid. We got three or two players, I guess, in the top 16 on the Raging Bolt as well.
Yeah,
I was going to say three in top 32, but the said 33rd, I have to imagine that's probably a bubble there. Unfortunate for Fernando. Um, but yeah, Raging Bolt jumping over Golden Go from what we saw in Atlanta. But Golden Go is still holding strong, 11% day one. And then Gardevoir picking up a ton after
yeah.
its win in Atlanta, which I don't think is that big of a surprise, right? All the way up to
Mhm.
10% in day one.
Yeah, I think you said it best last week. It's like anyone who was on the fence instantly locked Gardevoir after Henry won with it, right? Anyone's like anyone who's between Gardevoir and another deck probably instantly locked in Gardevoir after watching Henry win.
Yeah.
And then
Do they break down Gardevoir Zolwark? They don't, it looks like. Yeah. And then Terrabox still holding strong.
yeah,
Um,
I thought it'd fall off a little bit more, but yeah, it went from like what 10 to 8, so it's still here.
and then we can look at the conversion rates. Actually, let's just look at day two. uh, a little easier to digest there. Dragapult losing some meta share into day two, and that being picked up by Golden Go and Raging Bolt, like you mentioned. Gardevoir staying about the same. Terrabox dropping a little bit about the same. Archaladon and Terapagos both also kind of staying the same. But kind of one of the big newcomers on the block, which we'll talk about here shortly. I guess we can just go ahead and talk about it. Maybe we'll come back to the Blissey deck. Let's just talk about it now. The Joltig box from Tyler Matthews here in the top 8. Now, this popped up a little bit just before Atlanta, I think is when I saw it
Yeah.
first from Sajin Park. He tweeted out a list that he had used in a Korean tournament.
Actually, he
Um,
tweeted out a list like the first week of Journey Together, I want to
okay.
say. Like he's been on this deck. But yeah, I think he did once again. Um, the Jaltic propaganda was being stirred up again more recently as well. On top of that,
Yeah. So you talked about how Iron Hands is just kind of like a strong card, strong option in the format. And this deck doesn't like really seem like it should work together super well, right? Four different basic energy types. Um, You wouldn't think like the Miraidon would be synergetic with things like Lily's Clefairy and Iron Leaves EX. But I think this like deck is really just kind of brought together by the power of Crispin as a supporter, and then also obviously Joltig. It's Jolting Charge really, really strong. It's a ton
Yeah.
of energies to be able to be put in play.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it when we first saw it. This is like the most powerful energy acceleration attack in the history of the game, right? It's up
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Like it might just be the most powerful. Like a colorless energy to put 4 basic energy in play is kind of absurd. And
It
yeah, it's going
rivals
around.
this little 30 HP Joltig, I think rivals maybe one of the other best ones I can think of just off the top of my head is like Alcremie VMAX. And that was a VMAX Pokemon? Like
Yep.
and this is just a little 30 HP basic Joltig.
Yeah. So it's honestly the biggest thing is that it is one of the better ways to play Iron Hands. I guess I would also say like Pikachu as well is like really, really good. And like this is also one of the better ways to play Pikachu. So it's kind of like a little bit of a perfect storm. You can't just do one without the other, it feels like in the current format. Like you can't just be a Pikachu deck. You can't just be an Iron Hands deck. Like we see Future Hands pop up now and then. I think Future Hands is pretty bad. And then we've seen like Terra Box, one of the biggest contributors to Terra Box being able to win games is Pikachu, but it's not just Pikachu. You got the Water Pond and all the other squad in there. Clefairy is a big one. So yeah, it's like a lot of yeah, it's kind of like just getting good things together, making them work. Joltik kind of brings it all together. You either set up your Iron Hands or your Pikachu's depending on the matchup, and then you try and use Crispin from there to kind of sustain throughout the game. Sometimes you use Joltik multiple times. And this list specifically got the Iron Leaves as like a backup attacker. I'm not 100% sure what the Iron Leaves is like there for. It can
I
also
was
like
thinking about that too.
unstick you against like water pawn, which can kind of be nice. But I don't know what water pawn would try. Yeah, so I guess like that's probably a reason, right? Against water pawn if they like what's it called? Sob.
Yeah, nothing can get really stuck. Everything can attack in this deck. Like even your
It's
Latias, you've
true.
you've got 2 psychic energy, right?
Yeah, I have to imagine there's some reason for the Iron Leaves to bring things together a little bit because you also like if that's the only reason you could just play a switch, right?
And there is
So
Prime Catcher in this list.
yep, that's true as well. So you do have like another pivot card with that.
I
And then for
wonder
the
maybe is like Dragapult Charizard popular over there? That's like a possibility, one card inclusion if that like deck is like maybe a little bit
yeah,
more popular.
yeah, maybe it is just kind of some help for that matchup. I could see that. There's Maractus in here as well. That for the retreat lock. I'm not sure exactly what matchup that is there for. Although it is good against a couple different decks right now. It's good against stuff that is playing Noctowl, like specifically Raging Bolts, just doesn't play switch cards besides Prime Catcher. So it might just be in there to slow the game down. I could see that. Yeah, not 100% sure why the Maractus is in here, or like what its most powerful use case is, but retreat locking is just pretty good right now. This isn't like an infinite because corner does do 20 damage. When you look at something like the Knackley, if you retreat lock the Noctowl or the Monkey Door, you do 0 damage. So you can like infinitely, as long as as long as you're winning deck out, you can just win with Knackley up against a couple matchups potentially.
Yeah, so shout outs to Tyler. Definitely a cool deck. I think this deck is going to like pick up some steam and we'll see a bit more of it moving forward in the format for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'll definitely get more popular. The question is just like how well will it actually do? I'm not sure about that yet, but
And now let's finally talk about the Blissey deck that Fernando Cifuentes used to get second place here. Now, I tuned into your stream for just a few minutes earlier today, and you were playing this deck, so you've had some time with it. What are your kind of thoughts on it?
this deck kind of like Terrabox. I've actually liked this way to describe decks recently and I started doing it with Terrabox. This deck is a product of the meta. It is not the meta maker. It's a product of the meta. So what I mean by that is like it needs the meta to be in a good spot for this deck to be good. Unlike decks like Dragapult and Gardevoir, they either are the meta or can kind of like force themselves into the meta because they have so much flexibility with their options. This deck is a little bit more like, all right, how popular is Dragapult? Because I got a really good Dragapult matchup. Okay, it's popular enough. All right, this deck is good. It comes up short against stuff like Raging Bolt, but you're good against Golden Go because of the Cornerstone. You're good against Dragapult. Besides that, I don't know its exact like full matchup spread. You're good against the Terra Box decks as well, like Terrapagos, Tank Terrapagos, Terra Box. And we see even here like the one loss besides losing in the finals was to a Raging Bolt there, right? And that's like definitely a bad matchup. It's like going to be a tough one, but the Golden Ghost, the Dragapults, probably our Child on as well. Those are all going to be pretty good matchups for the deck. So um, if the meta is right, this deck's a pretty good play, but it sometimes maybe has to kind of wait around for that moment. But it seems like, I mean, like right now, I mean, for this tournament specifically, it seemed pretty good when you look at the meta and you look at its matchup spread.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little surprised because I felt like I remember testing Blissey a little bit before NAIC last year, when Dragapult was expected to be really popular, and Blissey just like smashed Dragapult. But then ever since
Yep.
Dusknoir came out, it was almost like, is this even worth really considering? So how does that work into the mix here? Because like I have to imagine Dusknoir or Dragapult, it feels like it would have the answer because you can still one hit KO a Blissey EX.
I just don't think you get enough out of that. I think you're still coming up short. Like that's a lot to invest. And then if they start chasing your Duskulls and stuff like that, and you can never put like enough damage on like a couple Pokemon to really pick up multi-prize turns with the Dragon Ball spread because the Monkey Doors just push it all back. So I think that's always been a fine matchup. A big deck that is no longer in the format anymore that Blissey could never beat was Lugia.
Yeah.
And there's no Lugia. It's like that's a big one. Like Raging Bolt's still here, but now we don't have Lugia for the deck have to contend with. So I think that's a big deck that's no longer around in the numbers that it once was. So it's kind of like a mainstay in the meta, right? We have these decks that are kind of mainstays. They're always going to be there in some form. It feels like at a decent percentage, but one of those is gone now.
There were a couple Dragapults in the top cut. We did see Tanner Hurley with back-to-back top cuts. So, you kind of see these at the end of seasons, right? Players go on little bits of tournament runs. They find a deck that they
Yeah,
really, have spent enough time with and are playing really well with, and like it's just turns out being really good in the meta. And I think like this list is probably what we're gonna see mostly from Dragapult moving forward here. Like Genesect is so insanely good right now. Like that
yeah,
card is so nuts, especially in the Dragapult mirror matches.
yeah. Shut down their unfair. It allows you to be the aggressor and then not just immediately get crushed by unfair stamp. And then it's obviously so powerful against Golden Go, right? So yeah, I really like this build. The build's pretty sick. We see some adjustments. Definitely made a couple changes. The cape is in there now. No defiance band. Got some jacks in there. One of the Arvins is gone now. So yeah, still no vessel. Still has the energy search, which I'm not sure how I feel about that.
And that's not the only way we saw Dragapult represented in cuts. There was some Dragapult Golden Go here, and
All
that
right,
was
hold
what.
on. It's Golden Go with
Okay,
Dragapult.
sure, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah, totally fair. It is a Golden Go deck, but I'm trying to transition from our talk about Dragapult. Come on, buddy.
It was in there. It was in there.
Stick with me, stick with me. But yes, Golden Go deck with the Dragapult, and that's what the kind of the big like American testing group that went to this tournament chose to play. It seems like Caleb Rogerson, Grant Shin, Michael Davidson was playing the deck as well, Benny Billinger,
Rahul, I
um,
believe. I think.
yeah, Rahul, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I would say actually, I think Golden Go Dragapult, specifically this list, was probably the most dominant deck at the tournament overall. But you did have a group of very high level players bringing it, right? So that's going to cause its success to uh, jump up quite a bit. And this is like a pretty interesting build though compared to what we're used to, or what we've even seen succeed most recently from Grant Manley at Atlanta, with the Crispins being like the main inclusion there to help you kind of utilize Dragapult more aggressively. But then we see this build here, one Dragapult EX similar to what Grant played, but no Crispins, no any extra energy acceleration to get to the Dragapult. Got some Cypher Maniacs in here instead, which of course is a great card alongside your Golden Go. The Genesect in here, a little bit of a mirror match tech, but also very strong up against the Dragapults to stop their unfair stamp, shut down the unfair stamp potential, and then even to get to the energy count, only one psychic and only one fire. So basically, the bare minimum you could include in a Golden Go deck as far as Dragapult goes, besides going down to like a 1/1/1 Dragapult. You could have cut one Dreepy, one Dracloak, but the Dreepy and Dracloak, or the Dracloak specifically, is really, really strong with Golden Go because Golden Go just loves draw support in
Yeah.
play.
It's really like it's a 2/2 Dracloak line, really, is what it
Yeah.
is. And then it's like it's like we might as well play Dragapult, right? And it does
Yeah.
fix some of the matchup issues, right? The Cornerstone, which is, a card that just walls Golden Go completely. Now you have an answer to it. But this also another interesting thing here is there is the Genesect in this build, but there's only one tool card that you can really put on the Genesect, the Vengeful Punch. There are two Technical Machine Evolutions, but those get discarded as soon as you
Yeah.
attach them. So it doesn't really work with the Genesect at all. What
It
do you
is
think?
kinda funny. I think I like the idea of it because in the matchups you wanna set up the Genesect, you don't need the Vengeful Punch, right? The Vengeful Punch is there for, um, Pikachu, right? It's basically just there for Pikachu. So, against Dragapult, against Mirror Match, you can put the Vengeful Punch on your Genesect, but it is just a one of, right? It's 2 one-ofs, 2 more one-ofs that prizing them, is gonna hurt your potential power. I actually saw I forget who it was, but after Davidson tweeted out the list, I believe, someone replied to Davidson specifically and was like, if you play Jamming Tower, you can put that in play and then put the TM Evolution on your Genesect, and then it gets stuck there. And I do think Jamming Tower is pretty good in Golden Go right now in general, so that could be an addition. Or just add another tool. Um, but yeah, I mean, the main reason to play yeah, the extra draw power is really great in the Golden Go deck, like you said, through the Dracloaks. And I guess like the nice thing about Dracloak compared to stuff like Revavroom or Zork, it has one retreat cost. But you already have the Turo and the switch in here. And then so like the big question I feel like with Golden Go right now is like how important do you feel like Dragapult is in the meta? Do you need that alternate attacker to get through the cornerstones and stuff like that? And I don't know if you need it, to be honest. Personally, I'm not that big of a fan of like Golden Go Dragapult, especially for where we came from Atlanta. Like at Atlanta, it felt like it probably is a lot better of a play to play the Dragapult. But this is definitely by far the most successful Golden Go list. Even Ross playing a different build. This has got the Crispins in there. This is actually exactly Grant Manley's 60. Um, but like minus a grass plus a water. So
Yeah.
Ross like staying hydrated, I guess. But it looks like Ross literally just took Grant 60 and ran it. And I don't know if he got to the win in, but did end up here in what was it, 10th place or 11th place there.
Yeah, 11th place, I believe. And yeah, Ross, cool story here, is chasing the Worlds invite. He's the only player, we talk about this all the time on the streams and stuff, but he's the only player to ever receive an invite to all 19 world championships that have taken place. I believe it is 19. And this is invite number 20 for him if he can lock it up. And he is like on the
I feel like
cusp
this,
now. This finish probably puts him safely in the mix,
yeah,
but before a top 16 finish here, he was like, he was in that
yeah.
120 range. He's flirting with disaster there.
I feel like this should probably lock it up for him, to be honest, for sure. Um, yeah, I feel like if not, he needs like anything at. If I don't know if he's going to any more tournaments, I don't know. But if he goes to any more tournaments and gets any points, that should do enough for him. Or even if he
Oh,
hasn't capped out locals.
he's massive
Um,
chilling for sure now. He's up to 58 with this finish.
with 700, yeah, I think people were predicting like 650 to be the
Yeah.
number. Yeah,
And that is
doing all
an
right.
interesting thing too. There's 10 direct invites, I believe, that have been awarded to players who are in. I think 9 of the 10 direct invites are to players who are in the top 125. So you can go down to like 134, I think here, and that's the mark where we're at right now. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure that's right. It's somewhere in there.
there's gonna be a lot of points injected into these standings though with NAIC. So
Definitely.
interesting to see how it all lands. And that's actually something I was like, I'm most interested in. It's funny, like, on the official streams, you guys will be talking about the leaderboards and you'll be looking at the top half of the leaderboards. And I'm always like, bro, show us the bottom half, bro. I want to see
Bro,
125. You guys
you
do
mu-
bring that up too. You bring that up as well.
you must not have been paying attention because we did show the bottom half of the
Yeah, yeah,
leaderboard at this last stream. We did show I think we showed spots 120 4 through whatever 16 path. Yeah, 140. I think that's what we showed. 124 to 140 is what we showed.
yeah. The people in the race.
Yeah,
I
and
don't.
that's definitely something we're going to be following a lot, like here at the end of the season, plus at NAIC as well.
I don't need to
Uh,
see Brent Tonneson locking up his 100th travel award.
yeah, yeah, that's kind of I think it's like I think people like to know who the best players are in the game
Yeah,
currently, but it's also it is kind of almost always the same names, and it's like last season was a little different because there was the top 16 stipend and race and stuff that we're talking about competing for, like for the
bye.
tier one invite, the round one
Yeah,
buy and
yeah,
stuff. Now there's just the kind of world's travel award that comes along with it, and that's really it, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's still kind of cool to see that who's on top, who's like potentially even nominated, especially if there's like a big separation between like first place and championship points and like the next player after that.
Where are you at in here,
Uh,
buddy? 62.
chilling.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get your world's invite. I mean, you have your world's invite, I guess, but
Yeah,
I
get it
mean, come on,
twice.
buddy. You don't want to get that travel award top 16?
I mean,
400
If I
points.
win NAIC, I'll get it, but I'm chilling. Or, I don't think the the what's it called? Yeah, those are I've never thought about travel I've never, like, tackled travel awards that way. Like, I've never, like, looked at the leaderboard and been like, "How many points do I need? Should I go to another regional? Should I go to another league cup?" If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, that's okay.
Yeah. Well, most people are not as stone faced as you when it comes to that. A lot of people are like, it's $3,500. Let me see if I can figure out a way to make sure that I get that.
At this point, I have to go to no, I can win an NAIC. I could probably get there if I win an NAIC. How many
Yeah,
points you get for winning an
if
NAIC?
you won like 700 or something, I think, right?
Okay, that should probably be able to do it. I could do well
Yeah.
at Portland too. Yeah. We still got
Yeah.
it in the we still got a chance.
What do you think the odds are would be right now for you to finish the season in the top 16?
Uh, I give myself like how many events am I going to? 2 more events?
Portland and NAIC.
I'll give myself 20% odds,
That's pretty high for how far down you are, buddy.
right? I'm confident. We can get it done maybe. And if we don't, it's fine.
I think one of the other unique decks here we did want to talk about is Rahul's Roaring Moon deck. So Roaring Moon making a bit of a resurgence here, and it's Moon to Dunsparce. This was actually kind of one of the first ways we saw Roaring Moon be super successful all the way back at EUIC last season, or was it 2 seasons ago? Was that 2 seasons ago that that happened? I think it
Yeah,
was.
2 seasons ago.
Holy cow!
Wow.
Um, but yeah, Moon to Dunsparce, it's back. Your favorite draw engine, Azul to
Hey,
Dunsparce. What do you
this
think?
deck is definitely the best deck for the Dunsparce by far. This is the best deck that's ever played the Dunsparce, or the best Dunsparce deck that there's ever been. All the other, and I'm so happy to see the Dunsparce Golden Ghost fail. I'm so happy to see anyone who played the Dunsparce in any of these decks that I told them it was bad. I told you the Dunsparce was bad. I'm so happy to see it failing because the card sucks, dude. There's some Golden Goated Dunsparces in day 2 that aren't even playing the Dunsparce EX. The only reason to play the Dunsparce engine is to include the Dunsparce EX in your deck, and they're not even playing the card. Honestly, I'm actually kind of surprised to not see it in this deck because I feel like it's still a pretty good option up against stuff like Raging Bolt or maybe even like Terra Box style decks that put a ton of EXs in play to get like a one hit for a really efficient one hit instead of having to build up a big moon. So I'm a little bit surprised to not see the Dunsparce EX in this deck, to be honest. But yeah, I'm happy to see this deck come. This deck is cool. I don't think it was. I think the deck was bad in the metagame in the format previously. Is it bad right now? I couldn't tell you. I haven't played with the deck yet. Plan to play it. Well, I plan to play it today, but PTG Live is down, so maybe tomorrow or the day after. Definitely gonna try and get in some time with the deck and see how I feel about it. But um, I'm
Oh
probably gonna
man,
put
what a
a
sick
Dunsparce EX in
tournament
there.
run. Rule here started 9-0-1 and then lost 2 winning ins in a row. That is brutal.
Oof, that is unfortunate for sure. Should have locked up that dub against Davidson, bro. Can't every point matters. Every point matters so much.
Yeah.
Um, can't let any letting a single point, or I guess it'd be more so like 2 points slip by is like huge. The margin for error is so low with
Even
the
got a
point
dub versus
system.
Brent.
Yeah,
Brent's
and
one loss in the tournament was Raul.
he was set up, bro. He was set up to win this one, to take it all down.
Yeah.
Couldn't get into the cut. Got close though. Cool deck. Definitely excited to try it out myself.
Has the neutralization zone in here, which I think is like that stadium is pretty good right now.
Yeah.
If people, I mean, Andrew Hedrick's Dragapult list didn't even play a stadium card. Like, most people are playing like one stadium. So if it's prized or it's on the bottom of your deck and you can't find it, like you're just gonna give, like, if you've as the Moon to Dunsparce player can find it quickly and like your opponent doesn't find the counter stadium right away, if it just buys you one turn, that might be enough, right?
Yeah, the thing is, like, most decks, Gardevoir's not doesn't worry about it. Like, there's a lot of decks that you either play stadiums, multiple, or you have something like the Gardevoir, right? But it's possible this is literally just geared towards Dusknoir, Dragapult. Like, this is literally that could be like, "That's the matchup I'm struggling against. I can beat Dragapult without Dusknoir. I'm not being able to beat him with it. I'm just putting the neutralization zone in." And honestly, that doesn't seem like a terrible inclusion even just for that reason. But the thing with the thing with this list specifically is you have no way to, like, not bait out, but force out other their stadium counters, and you don't have any hand disruption in here too. Like, if you can't go like Iono neutralization zone at the end of the game or in the mid game, right? So as long as your opponent knows you have it, you can maybe cheese them game one, but going to top cut probably, and like game two, game three, it's gonna be really hard to get value out of the card.
Sure.
So, but if they don't play anything, like you said, the Hedrick build plays no stadium, so you just got that one locked up.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, that's kind of the big stuff here. There was another player playing Blissey in day two as well, playing the same 60 as Fernando. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of Golden Go at the tournament. Like you said, Golden Go Dragapult seems like it was the deck of the tournament all the way up until the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, some really interesting things. We'll have to see kind of. We'll talk about in the back half here how we feel like the meta is going to develop moving forward into the tournaments this coming weekend. Any final words you want for Monterey Azul?
No, no, it's cool. It's sick to see the Latin American region keep up with America and Canada and Europe. Because I feel like uh they've definitely been held back more so by tournament caps than anything. But we see the tournament caps, and they keep breaking meeting the caps, right? Not just in Mexico, which of course is going to have a decent influx from players coming from America, but you even see all the tournaments down in Brazil and stuff still hitting the caps over and over again. So hopefully, just next season, bigger caps and hopefully some official streams. That's what I'm hoping for. Is just give the players more give the players the tools to work with, give the community the tools. People want to also see these games, so getting some official streams down there would also be pretty sick.
Well, now I think it's a good time for us to hop over to Japan and take a look at some city leagues. So, like we mentioned, the brand new expansion, Glory of Team Rocket, has officially been released over in Japan. I think it is kind of hard to get your hands on the cards still. I saw some pictures on Twitter of like, people lined up for blocks, waiting at like a 7-Eleven to try to get a couple of packs of this set. So, kind of the same things we're experiencing over here. Seems like they're experiencing over in Japan as well. But we still have some tournaments we can look at. Have you looked through these city leagues? Did you guys look at it on your stream at all today?
No, I haven't looked through any of it yet, but I think we should may as well start off with I did see a Mewtwo deck did get a dub right there.
Yes, I saw that as well. And yeah, that is right. You have to look a little hard to find the Mewtwo deck with the dub. As you're scrolling through, there's not too many of them. And it's also listed as Spidops first as well,
Despite
which
off
is
Mewtwo.
interesting. Yeah, Spidops, Mewtwo. There are only two Mewtwo, I guess, in here. There are three Spidops, so it's only fair, right? But yeah, here it
Yeah.
is. Spidops and Mewtwo. Just a quick refresher for anyone who doesn't know, Rockets Mewtwo EX. You can't attack with it unless you have four or more Team Rockets Pokemon in play, and its attack does 160 damage. Plus, you may discard up to 2 energy from your benched Pokemon. This attack does 60 damage for each card discarded in this way. The Spidops has charging up, lets you bring an energy from your discard pile back, and then all the Team Rocket support cards are broken.
Dude, how do we have Guzman? We're still playing Pokemon Catcher in this. Are we serious? What is going on?
Because you got to fill your hand up with Ariana, bro.
True, that's fair. I mean, maybe like if you just like maybe it should just be a four Pokemon catcher deck and you just like Ariana um draw and
Yeah.
then play Pokemon catcher as your ghost effect. Actually, I don't hate it. Now that you mentioned it,
Or
I'm
you
coming back
archer
to it.
them to 3 cards and then catch your heads, KO whatever you want?
Sheesh, that is kind of disgusting to be honest. That is kind of disgusting. Sheesh. Yeah, but honestly, the we see a very low energy count, but I guess you're just recycling them over and over again with the Spite Ops. You see three Earthen Vessel in here, got the Stadium in here, draw two cards, and we got the translation correction incorrect. You can activate the stadium at any point during your turn as long as you've played a supporter. Um, you don't have to activate it immediately alongside the supporter use. I saw the correction on Twitter uh happen, which is I don't think that's necessary. I don't the stadium is broken to begin with. I don't think we need to be able to play Ariana to drop to 8 and then play Nest Balls and Ultra Balls and Buddy Poffins and Vessels, thin out our deck, and then be like, okay, now I'll draw two cards. I don't think that's necessary, but that is how it works. So the card got even that much better officially.
Yeah,
So
crazy card for sure.
definitely broken. But I mean,
Ariana draw up to 8. go do whatever you want to do, then
Yep.
draw two more. Like,
I think the biggest part with that as well is how that interacts with Iono. Like, now depending on what got Iono to the bottom of your deck, you can now choose to shuffle if it makes sense, or you just don't, and you just draw 2 more off the top, right? But having that flexibility is probably the most powerful, um, thing about how it's worded, or about how it works, right? Compared to how we thought it worked. So, yeah, pretty disgusting card. I mean, yeah, the Rockets engine in general is just kinda disgusting. I mean, this deck looks pretty good to me. I don't know. I hate the idea that we have to play Maximum Belt in here, though. Maximum Belt seems kinda cringe, but you maybe have to include it so you can hit those higher numbers to 1 and KO stuff like Dragapult. I guess maybe not, though. We have Clefairy in here.
we do have Clefairy. We've also got the Rockets Mimikyu. Rockets Mimikyu plus Clefairy is a nasty combo into that matchup for sure.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. I don't did we talk about that, the official Mimikyu translation? I don't even
I
know if
don't
we
know if we
talked about that.
did, but I mean, it was what we kind of thought it was going to be, right? Your
Yeah.
opponent's active Terra Pokemon's attacks.
No matter how much, Jake tried to say this wouldn't be possible, or this probably wasn't gonna be it,
No,
it did
no,
turn out to be it.
he said it was.
Oh, I thought he was saying that it wouldn't be active Pokemon or Terra active Pokemon.
He was saying that it wouldn't be just active Pokemon.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. Jake was right.
He
I wouldn't
was
say
right.
once again, Jake was right. He's keeping that 50%, average going. Jake was right in this one then. All right, all right. Then we have the Sneasel in there as well. I guess that's a cool Pokemon. It just kind of snipes. Although it doesn't feel like it synergizes super well with Mewtwo because I feel like Mewtwo's one hit KOing stuff.
Yeah.
Um, one of the Articuno as well protect our basic Pokemon from Dragapult specifically.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this deck doesn't seem bad for sure. Maybe card availability is like an issue why we haven't seen more of it. And to be honest, I bet if we click on some of these tournaments, like we may see more. Well, maybe not. See more Rockets Mewtwo in the mix. I think you can actually. Can you do it like this?
Ooh.
City League deck lists. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, there we go. Actually, this is actually yeah, I didn't know this existed.
Yeah. So here's what we've seen so far from Mewtwo. Here's a second place build. Looks pretty similar. I
Catchers,
want to say.
maximum belt, yeah.
Gotta play 4 copies of the Rockets
Yeah,
receiver.
what is going on here? Let's just hope that they couldn't get the 4th one. Let's just yeah, they couldn't get the they Pokegears! Wait, okay, they definitely just couldn't get their 4th receiver.
Okay.
Yeah. They definitely just did not have 4 receiver. So I think we can definitely say card shortage is that kinda confirms that suspicion, I think, for sure a little bit. This
That's
one is actually
so
playing,
funny. So this one has
Secret
Secret
Box.
Box, but Defiance Band.
Yeah. No Pokemon Catcher. I hope this is the better way to play the deck. I don't wanna play Pokemon Catcher.
I think we're playing
Although,
Pokemon Catcher Buddy.
the way you made it sound, though, made it sound so powerful. Like, it does sound good.
Alright, this is pretty cool. We've got a Team Rockets Crobat build.
Dude, that feels like we're just not getting very much value out of the Spite Ops.
Yeah. Why is there
Feels
4
weird.
4 Spite Ops
Yeah.
in here?
Yeah.
That is
If
a good
Crobat's our
point.
main guy.
Yeah. I wonder if there's some other cool Crobat deck. This is like the way to do this, I think, if you wanna. Oh, hold up. Crobat Dragapult. Neo Upper
There we
Energy.
go. 1/1/1 Dusknoir still. So just in case they don't have the Psyduck, we get to use the more powerful Pokemon spread ability card. But if they do, we got a 2/2/1 Crobat to back us up. And yeah, Neo Upper, so you could attack with Crobat as well with this deck. That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, that is very cool. We got another. Oh, that was the first one we looked at. Yeah, those are the only two higher end finishes. There's another Crobat Spidops deck.
We're seeing the Team Rocket's Great Ball, or is it what's it called? Team Rocket's Great Ball?
Yes, Team
Also,
Rocket's Great
yeah.
Ball. Flip a coin if heads. Search for an evolution. Tails. Search for a basic Team Rocket's Pokemon.
Yeah, so this card doesn't seem insanely powerful because of the supporter because of the supporter, but it's still I mean, it's pretty good with the Crobats, I think for sure. There's you want so many Pokemon.
Yeah, you just want to
Um,
get the bats up and
yeah.
running pretty quick.
I
And
could
I
also see
wonder.
normal Great Ball being good with the bats as well.
I was gonna say too. Like, I feel like there will be a time where we see this card be played along. I mean, we already saw it with the Dragapult list here, but like I think we're gonna see some deck play the bat line without playing like the Rockets engine stuff.
Yeah, the Spite Ops just seems awkward in there. It's just like so much for so
Yeah.
little value. I don't know. I mean, I get the actually I don't even know if I really do get the idea behind playing it, to be honest. I'm kinda stumped.
Yeah.
Actually, is Psyduck legal?
Yeah, we can maybe look for that.
That's what I'm kinda curious about right now.
Mm,
That is a Psyduck.
here it
It is.
is. City League deck lists. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I was actually curious 'cause I was like, "Alright, we're still seeing
And
Dusknoir pop
it's
up."
played in a lot.
Okay, people are trying to shut it down. We could see an interesting decidueye situation. People are playing Psyduck, nobody plays Dusknoir. Why would you wanna play a card for a deck card that no one's playing? Everyone cuts Psyduck. Oh, wait, Dusknoir's kinda broken, like, right now for a tournament. I wonder if we'll see that kind of happen.
I mean, this feels like the perfect setup for Psyduck. Something like this, right? Uh, This is an Archaludon deck. There are four Archaludon, four Duraludon. That's what we're attacking with. It's like the most simple, straightforward deck that could exist. So
Psyduck in there.
yeah, like it's so simple to put a single card basic tech Pokemon into a deck like this, right?
Yeah, the only thing that's missing from here is, like, a 1/1 Toedscroll. We got the Genesect, we got the Psyduck. Get the Shaman in there, get the 1/1 Toedscroll, and we're cooking.
This deck seems kind of good. Not gonna. I mean, it's obviously very simple, but
Yeah.
like Jamming Tower plus Genesect, those are like the broken cards in the format right now, right?
Yeah, I don't hate this, I don't hate this. I think Archaludon I mean, honestly, I just this is once again, there's so much Pokemon to play. I had wanted to work on our Archaludon build kinda like this, where it's just like just Archaludon, you figure out all the good tech cards for the meta currently. I haven't been able to do it yet. I worked on Archaludon Zoroark. It's like the only Archaludon build really messed with yet. There's just so much Pokemon to play, but Archaludon just seemed really good. It's because I feel like tool cards fix a lot of Archaludon's interesting, like, bad situations.
What
So
are
many
the
tool
bad
cards are like
situations
we got
that
the
have come
Rocky
up?
Helmet or the Vengeful Punch for the Pikachu. You could get over 300 HP with the Rigid Band. You have Toedscruel, to, like, be good against Golden Go. Like, and the deck has so much space, like you mentioned. You have so much room to, like, play so much stuff. I don't know. I feel like that,
It's just such a simple,
yeah,
self-sufficient card, you know?
so much room for activities.
Yes, yeah, we can call it the stepbrother deck. There was okay, this is a cool one. You'll be excited about this one.
Yes, there it is. The Grim
Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX.
I'm gonna be pretty hyped if this deck actually ends up being good because I would just wrote this card off so heavily. The ability's broken. Like there's so many things about this thing that are so good. Solid attack. Stage two's got a lot of HP. Its ability's broken. And now we're seeing it kind of pop up with these with like the Frostlass Monkey Dory stuff. Adding like a lot of power to that deck. So I'm kind of
What's
excited for it
this
to be honest.
stadium do again?
Just any Marnie's card, any Marnie's Pokemon, excuse me.
Okay, just a
Broken Stadium.
search. Yeah, that's a good stadium. That is very good.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what happens with the Marnie's deck to be honest.
Yeah. There's no rare candy.
Team Evo 'em up.
I guess so, but I feel like this stadium with rare
Yeah,
candy seems kind of broken.
that's a good point. One rare candy in here seems pretty decent. I'm with you
Yeah.
on that. I'm with you on that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a card I'm sure you're excited to see in there. Let's take a look. That's actually we have not been scrolling city leagues in that way where we're like looking at specific cards. That's kind of like a broken way to do that because we can look at
Yeah.
kind of just a general consensus here. Here's
We
that
will miss
the
some stuff.
yeah, sure. Here's the Ethan's Hello deck once again, where it's just Mag Cargo. There's no Typhlosion. We called this whenever this card got revealed. This is the way
Yeah.
people would play it, and it is still being played now.
Yeah, there we go. Still not a ton of success from the deck. We also haven't seen it pop up at the Champions League. We didn't see it pop up at the Champions League either, but we did see a Ho-Oh deck make its way on stream, but it was no Macargo.
No
No
Mag
Macargo.
Cargo.
Actually, if you go back, I want to see what the Maridon I see Maridon Iron Hands there. Is that just Maridon Iron Hands?
It's the Joltik
No, it
deck.
is the Joltik deck. Yeah, I was wondering because there is the Joltik deck there on there as well. Um,
Yeah, this deck uses none of the new cards from the last two expansions they've had in Japan.
let's go. Yeah, but honestly, that's probably a good thing, right? Because doesn't that mean like power creeps kind of in check with new sets?
Maybe. I mean, I think it's good to see like I think you kind of want when you bring new cards in for them to have I mean, I guess as long as they're having an impact in some place, they don't have
Yeah,
to have an impact in every single deck, right?
yeah. Also, I would say with like this, I always say this with City League results: don't read too much into them. The rest of the world, a lot of great minds in the Pokemon TCG, a lot of minds in general, haven't got their hands on the cards or have thought about them that much. So, man, this deck sucks. It has the Dunsparce. Why would we ruin this perfectly good Typhlosion deck?
Let's look at all the City League deck lists with the Dunsparce.
Oh
Oh,
man.
Mamoswine, Garganackle, the Dunsparce.
Okay,
Okay, okay. Go ahead. I think you're about to say literally exactly what I was about to
the
say.
1/1 to the Dunsparce isn't Jake Gearhart initially gave me the idea, or was the first person I saw the idea from. 1/1 to Dunsparce in Mamoswine does make some sense because you need something to find with your Mamoswine's ability in like the mid late game.
Yep.
You start to run out of stuff. So the 1/1 to Dunsparce in Mamoswine is like one of the few places where it's like, oh, this actually like there's some synergy here besides Nest Ball for my or besides Poffin for a Pokemon, then Ultra Ball for a Pokemon. Oh, and then I'm putting it back in my deck because I don't want it anymore. Like, let me see here. Very few to Dunsparce decks are winning. There's like 1 in 30. So, I mean, someone's got to get lucky, right? So,
Just absolutely trashing the deck.
no to Dunsparce
No
EX.
to
What's
Dunsparce
the
EX.
point? What is the point?
Yeah.
Dude, set up a Zoroark. Set up
This
a
can't get
Dracloak.
stuck.
Dude, it's so like if you just play one switch, one Turo, one rescue board with Reverum or Zoroark, it's not getting stuck. I've never had it get stuck.
We got this.
This is what I wanted EV decks to be.
There's no Umbreon.
There's no Umbreon. Is that one of the best ones? What does that one do again?
Well, it's just one of the it does like just a flat like 280, I think. Discard and energy or all energy from it.
I don't remember what they all do. No, isn't that Umbreon the one that just draws a prize card?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Well, honestly, I feel like that effect's just not that good.
Discard all energy from this
You
Pokemon,
draw a
draw a
prize
prize
card.
card. Yeah.
That one's like a tech one, like Sigilyph would be, where it's like there's like a matchup up against like a tank deck, where it's like I can draw 5 prize cards, but then their board set's fully set up. I can't get that 6th prize card. That's what like that or the end Sigilyph would become a good conclusion.
This deck is hilarious. There's a 1/1 Noctowl line in it.
There's too much going. This deck is got too much
Dude,
going on.
this looks like a
I think the Dunsparce might improve this deck.
this looks like a Dark Integral Gaming deck right here.
Yeah, this is
Wait,
like
hold up.
literally
Is
like
everything in this legal? Bro,
this is like forced.
someone send this list to LDF right now. Get it to
Dude,
Matt.
he's probably already done this, bro. LEF has already made an EV box for
That's
sure.
true. But now he can
Yeah.
make one where he said EV Box actually won a tournament, something like that.
Yeah, this is definitely like forced EV box. I feel like for sure because this deck is like it's got way too much going on.
But he won, dude. He won.
He did win.
But yeah,
Shout out.
that's kind of it seems like we've seen a little bit from the Team Rocket stuff. Maybe if we do another look at this next week, we'll see a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, click on a couple of them. Let's see if there's anything else like that stands out. Yeah, look at the whole top 16. Is there anything? Blaziken? No. Click on the Blaziken Petron. Dude, I played against this on ladder.
Wait, that
Bro.
seems kind of sick.
No, this thing sucks, dude. There's no way. You attack with the Petch, it gets to knock out, it poisons up, and yeah, Blaziken has the backup attacker.
This is broken.
Dude, it might be. No,
I
hit this on
actually I
ladder. I
like
forget if I
Blaziken.
lost.
I like Blaziken EX a lot. I really hope that at some point that card gets used at some point. But it's just probably kind of mediocre.
Yeah, I think it will. I actually think it will. That has to be built pretty heavily around it, but Slow King still doing its thing despite Shaman being in the format. I mean, that's the thing as well. Like now they have Psyduck and Shaman. It's like you can't play all of them. Well, some decks could, but like
Also, Psyduck and Shaman, more stuff to donk.
sure. I mean, this deck isn't Donkin, but yeah, for poison package in general.
Yeah, sure.
Poison pack, yeah, poison
Yeah,
package,
this
yeah.
one's not donking. Yeah, true.
um, yeah. I forget what I was saying. Oh yeah, Blaziken. I think Blaziken will have its moment. I don't know if that's where I was, but that's what I remember.
Let's wrap it up by looking at this festival lead deck.
Just look at it. Beautiful.
You know what it's missing?
What?
The Dunsparce line.
No, that would be truly awful. You're just ruining another deck, bro. Perfectly fine deck ruined once again with the Dunsparce, man.
The Dunsparce strikes again. Well, Azul, I think that's going to do it for our City League watch this week. We'll do it again next week. Take a look at and see kind of what's going on, if there's more results from the newest set coming out. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and move on to guess that flavor text. But before we do, we have to, of course, take a moment to thank our fantastic sponsor, Dragon Shield, for supporting us here at the Uncommon Energy Podcast. Dragon Shield, of course, makes some of the best card gaming and tabletop gaming sleeves and products on the market. We love them mostly for the sleeves, but of course, we use so many of their other products. I use all their various cubing accessories. Azul's been rocking the deck box recently as well, and they do have a couple of new colors: the amber and amethyst matte sleeves. We'll have links to these products in our description. So if you want to pick them up for yourself, the amber a nice orange, the amethyst a nice purple. Definitely recommend checking them out. I'm actually planning to go to a league challenge tomorrow night, and I may bust out one of these boxes to do that. I've got a few opened sleeves that I've like just lightly used that I may just use for it, so I may not bust out a new box just yet, but I'll be using Dragon Shields regardless for sure.
Yeah, I haven't made my way to a tournament in a little while. But yeah, I'm gonna be rocking the Ambers. I think that's gonna be the ones I go to once I make my way to Portland here. I think it's what about a month away from Portland? I don't know, something like that. But yeah, huge shout out to Dragon Shield as always. Sponsoring the podcast. Link of course will be in the description, and code UEPod will get you 5% off, and will directly podcast. I'm actually before we get into guess that flavor text chip. Uh, what are you gonna play at your league challenge?
I haven't totally decided yet, to be honest. I talked about this last week, how at Atlanta I got like I should have maybe told this story at the start of the show. I totally forgot about this. I got excited and like was like, man, I just want to go play some Pokemon. I haven't played Pokemon in a minute. So I went last week, last Wednesday night. I went to just the locals, the regular Pokemon League night, and that's the first time I've been in a long, long time. I show up. It's going to be 4 rounds of Swiss. I decided to just play Dragapult, Andrew Hedrick's Dragapult deck, which I felt like since I haven't been playing recently, it's at least a deck I'm like semi familiar with. I've seen a lot of gameplay from it, and it's obviously very good. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna play the best deck. Go with that, right?
Yeah.
Round one, I get the buy. Okay. So that's like, okay, whatever, sure, I get a buy. But I wanted to play, I came to play. I wanted to play in this tournament, but I got the buy, is what it is. Round two, I pair into the Dragapult non-Dusknor build. They win the flip. They choose to go second. I go first. I get down one Dreepy. They go second. They turn one Badoomy, get down three Dreepy. I get a Dracloak in play, start to draw a card. Don't really see too much. I'm able to Badoo them back, I think. They get three Dracloak in play over the next couple turns, and I just kind of slowly, steadily start to lose that game. Okay, got locked out of the game. Couldn't really do too much, I didn't feel like. Round three, I played against a guy playing quad Okie Dogie, max rarity Okie Dokie deck. So massive respects to this guy, I'm not going to lie. But he did start his Pheasantipity, and he looked at me after he started his Pheasantipity and said, um, I'm not retreating this. And I just sat there and Badooed it for 14 turns. He did not retreat it. He drew, looked at his card, passed. Drew, looked at his card, passed. And he had the art rare Okie Dogies all loaded up with gold bravery charms, gold luminous energies. He was building up an army of Okie Dogies on the bench. And I finally had a turn where I got him up to like the 14 damage, and I did like a big Dusknor, Halucha, counter catcher, Iono type play to take three prizes in one turn. Iono him out of his big hand and eventually won that game. Um, and then in the fourth and final round, I played against the senior who was undefeated and was playing Dragapult Dusknor, and he won the coin flip, chose to go second, and I got down one Dreepy and got item locked out of the game. And so I was like, I really wanted to show up and play Pokemon. I played I didn't play round one. I played against two mirror matches where I went first and just basically lost the game. And then I played against the max rarity Okie Dokie. And that was my Pokemon League experience. It was so much fun.
So is this your official advocation for wanting Badoo to be banned? How
No,
you
of course
feeling?
not. Of course
Okay.
not. But I did not have a lot of fun in those 2 mirror matches where I mean, I was, like, kinda powerless to be able to do anything.
Yeah, honestly, that's how it feels like about, like, the yeah, honestly, like, those but that only happens at the top half of the meta. It's only Guardian Dragapult that those
It's
games
just the
happen.
Badoo mirrors is where it
Yeah.
feels terrible, yeah.
And it's not every deck, it's just literally those 2.
And also, I could have avoided this by happening if I had just played something different, but I had, like, not really spent that much time playing, so I just wanted to kinda roll with something not super crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Alright, Chip, up next, we got Guess That Flavor Text. It's your week to pick a card, read the flavor text on it, and then I have to try and guess which Pokemon that card belongs to. I'll get 4 points. If I get it right without using a lifeline, for each lifeline I use, 1 less point. The lifelines are what set the card is from, what stage the card is, and then read an attack name. Got your card ready, Chip?
Yes, I do have my card ready. We score wise, I am ahead still by 4 points. So there's a chance here for Azul,
Chance.
but I'm not counting on it. Are you ready, Azul?
I'm ready.
The number of spots on its back increase or decrease depending on the number of stars visible in the night sky.
Number of read it again?
The number of spots on its back increase or decrease depending on the number of stars visible in the night sky.
Oh, for some reason in my head, I feel like this could be Orbeetle or one of the Orbeetle line because they're like an isn't it like an alien Pokemon, or something like that. Maybe I'm just tripping because it looks like a UFO, and that's kind of
Some
what it's like
say.
portrayed as. I think it does have spots on its back. I don't know. I'm just gonna start using some lifelines here. So let's go with what set the card is from.
All right. This card is from Neo Destiny.
It's not Orbeetle.
I'm
uh,
surprised you know that Orbeetle did not exist in 2001.
no, I know that. I know the Beetle like that. Me and Beetle VMAX are tight. So, all right, give me the flavor text one more time.
The number of spots on its back increase or decrease depending on the number of stars visible in the night sky.
Neo, was it Neo Destinies?
Neo Destiny.
Dude, I just don't know. Can't think of any Pokemon with spots on its back. Um, so I just have to use some more lifelines here. Let's go with read and it. Yeah, give me the attack name.
Comet Punch.
I mean, these like all sound like things I've heard. I've heard Comet Punch before. Neos, Destinies.
If
All
you were
right,
someone who knew the video games better, this would be a huge hint
Comet Punch would
because,
be.
yeah, I think like
But could
less
it be
than 10 Pokemon can
Solrock?
even learn that move.
Solrock and Lunatone don't learn Comet Punch. They don't have hands.
Bro, they don't have hands.
I feel like sometimes that doesn't matter in Pokemon. Don't sometimes people like are kicking and punching stuff without feet and hands sometimes, right? Isn't
Probably, to be
all right, give
honest.
me the final what stage is the card?
It is a stage 1.
All right, just give me the flavor text one last time. I won't ask for it again.
The number of spots on its back increase or decrease depending on the number of stars visible in the night sky.
Comet Punch stage 1. Neo Destinies?
Destiny.
Neo Destiny. Old set, right? What did you say?
Old set.
2001?
2000.
Oh, 2000. Dude, sheesh.
It is either a
Oh,
Gen 1 or Gen 2 Pokemon.
Comet. Oh, is it Clefable? Does Clefable have spots on its back? Yeah, is it Clefable? Wait,
You locking that in?
yeah, sure, I'll lock in Clefable.
Honestly, with the night sky stuff, that is a good guess, but it is unfortunately incorrect. Let
I
me
don't
give
think it
you
has spots on its back, but yeah, I just don't know. I can't think of a Pokemon that does.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Clefable is very closely associated with um the
Moon
moon,
Pokemon, yeah.
so in the night. So like I think that's a reasonable guess. Let me give you the 4 Pokemon that can learn the move Comet Punch in Generation
Okay.
2, and let's see what you can get. You ready?
Yeah.
The 4 Pokemon that can learn the move Comet Punch: Hitmonchan, Kangaskhan, Ledyba, and Ledian.
Was Lydian.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think through the fact that
Yeah.
there's only one of those Pokemon was a stage
Yeah.
1, but yes, it is
I would have
Ledian,
actually, it's light
Light
Ledian.
Ledian, yes.
Would you have held that against me if I could somehow have gotten to Ledian? I didn't even know this was this old of a Pokemon. Was there a
Uh,
big break between this printing of Ledian and, like, the next one? I feel
there
like there had
just
to be some time off.
there just have not been that many Ledian cards. It's
Damn, bro, I
not
didn't
a
know.
very popular Pokemon.
Damn, the creators of the game are some real Ledian haters.
I
They, like, printed
mean,
it one time and like, "This thing stinks. Let's not do this again anytime soon."
it is Ledian, you know?
Ledian, yeah. There's
Um,
been a couple though, it's not terrible.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
no Bonsley.
They do often have the move Comet Punch. Yeah, so there's 14 different Ledian cards, and 3 of them are the most recent one. The 3
Yeah.
different artworks of the most recent Ledian.
It's literally the exact same card. Well, I guess they didn't do it like that back in the day, where it was literally like 4 of the same card.
Yeah.
Oh, just different artworks.
No.
Times have changed.
Well,
Yeah, I would've never
good.
got that. I think this is not, I had, like, a little bit of deja vu. This is not the first time I've been like, "Oh, wait, I didn't know the Ledian was been, like, this old of a Pokemon." I definitely had a little deja vu there, so this has definitely come up before, not, like, maybe on the podcast, but just in general in my
Yeah.
Pokemon. Um,
Ooh, there is a Clefable in the TCG that has the attack Extra Comet Punch.
oof, that's too much, though. That's too much comment. You can't say it like, we need a lighter comment.
But these are the only times Comet Punch. Some of these are extra comets. There's Metagross and Metang and stuff, but yeah, these are the only times Comet Punch has ever been printed in the TCG.
Ledian. Alright. Does make sense. I guess it is a ladybug, right? So it has the spots on the back. Although do they ever show its back in any of these? I guess you can see a spot right there on the third one on the top. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, they do show it. Where are
Yeah.
these spots at?
Well, also like flavor texts are just rips from the Pokedex entry. So,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, Azul. Well, better luck to you next week. I did anticipate that you would have a hard time with this one, but
Yeah.
you never know. You've surprised me before. Basically, anytime you've gotten any points, you've surprised me. So.
I definitely have surprised myself a couple times as well. Not gonna lie.
Better luck next week. I realized, let's really quick before we get into the predictions for Seville, sorry, Seville, Philippines, and Johannesburg. Let's actually go back and recap our predictions from last time from Monterey. We did not do that, so let's do it really quick. Our first prediction was what would be the highest, or no, sorry, what non Dragapult or Gardevoir deck would make cut. Sadly, neither of us predicted Blissey. You predicted Inzorg. I predicted Archaludon, and neither of those decks did super well. But I have to imagine that there's an Archaludon higher up than an Inzorg in day 2.
I think that is probably the end result, to be honest.
Yeah, highest placing Inns was 82nd place. Highest placing Archaludon, 43rd place. A much worse showing for Archaludon this weekend than it had previously in Atlanta.
But I feel like people just have not tried capturing Aroma and Zork. The deck felt pretty smooth when I tried out the capturing Aroma build. People got builds out here with like 2 Ultra Balls.
I can't tell if you're trolling.
I'm not trolling. Oh, not capturing Aroma. Hyper Aroma, Hyper Aroma, Hyper Aroma.
Okay. Oh, that's why I was like, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah, Hyper Aroma. Capturing Aroma won't even be that good in there, I don't think. But
Next prediction was pick a player to make top cut. Azul went with Pedro Pertusi. I went with Fabrizio Inga Silva, and neither of them made top cuts. But I don't think that
Pedro wasn't even at the
Pedro
tournament.
was at the event. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Fabrizio got day 2. Fabrizio got
Yeah.
40th place.
Yeah. I think ran it back with like a very similar Dragon. Still sticking to the crystal. Still has the crystal in there, holding out.
And then finally, we did pick the 6th most popular day 1 deck. You went with Archaludon. I went with Gardevoir. And you were a little closer. Gardevoir picked up a good bit more popularity, which I guess isn't too surprising, but it was still a little bit more than I was kind of thinking it was going to be. Gardevoir being the 4th most popular, and you hit it on the nose. Archaludon was the 6th most popular deck in day 1.
Yeah. Shout out to Tank Terrapagos for basically disappearing. Uh, I thought it was going to be Terra Box. I kind of fell off the map, but one of the owls got taken out.
Well, let's talk about the tournaments this coming weekend now. Seville, the Philippines Master Ball League, and Johannesburg Special Event.
Should all
Three
be
big
they're
ones. Well, I
yeah,
don't
they're
know how
all this
big
format, right?
they are all this format.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how big Johannesburg will be. Let me look at actually how big their last one was. I know people do usually travel to those, but there is also the special event happening in Spain. So
Yeah, I guess maybe, like, some American players would maybe go down there,
last season's Johannesburg special event had 80 players. But this is a
yeah.
big deal for their community, of course. It's like one of the big
Yeah.
ways that they get
I
a
mean,
lot of points injected.
how many invites do they even get, though?
I think it's split between Middle East and South Africa is like 2 or something like that. It's not many. No, it's more than that. Hang on, let me
Yeah.
look.
Well, honestly, the biggest deal is winning it. They get, like, the auto invite from winning it, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be the bigger deal, to be honest. I mean, this basically decides, I would assume, most of the players' tournament run unless one of the players, traveled a lot outside of,
Yeah.
uh, the region. Um, this is gonna basically be who qualifies, right? Or do they have another one? Do they maybe they have another one, or they already have one?
They do usually have 2. I don't know if they've already had the other one, but there are 10 players between the Middle East and South Africa who are awarded a world's
The
invite.
next one, yeah, the next one's in May. So they do have
And
one more coming up.
we can actually take a look at their leaderboard too. One thing I really liked a lot about this season is that they have been updating the leaderboard very frequently, which is a little bit different from past seasons.
Yeah, it's like they realize that they have the data and can literally just
Yeah.
enter it immediately.
So 10th place right now is 240 championship points. So I mean, basically, for most of these players, I mean, you've got a couple people here like Raz, who's traveled, of course, all
Yeah.
over. Sheldon here.
I mean, Raz has his
Um,
invite though from last year Worlds, right? So he's already
that's a good point. Yes, very, very true. Wait, yeah,
yeah.
Raz top four.
Yeah, I think so,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, top 4. I couldn't remember his top 4, top 8, but yes. Um, so yeah, you got a couple people here with already having their invite. But I mean, this is like basically all from league cups and challenges, these points, you know? Like I have to imagine these people at 260, 4 cup wins, 4 challenge wins. That's 260.
Yeah. So this is gonna be actually like it's almost like honestly, their invites are kind of just up for grab for anyone who attends these events.
Yeah.
Because they have 2. They have 2 coming up. Like, I feel like anyone can anyone can get their Worlds invite. As long as you have like some local points to back it up, you get top 4 at this thing, and you're definitely in contention for your invite. So these are gonna be big. These 2 special events coming up are gonna be huge, for securing the invite for Worlds.
Yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. Um, but yeah, so 3 tournaments this weekend. I mean, we're mostly here just gonna be talking about like the meta in general.
Yep.
So I mean, I think a lot of these things will apply if you're competing in cups and challenges and stuff like that this weekend. A lot of stores are going to be having their first cups of the new format these next few weekends. So um, let's just start off with Gardevoir. So there's been the 2 biggest majors. We had Atlanta and we had Monterey. We saw Zolark Gardevoir win the first one, and we saw Straight Gardevoir win number 2. What's the best Gardevoir variant to play? Which person's if you're going to a League Cup this weekend, are you taking Henry Chow's build or are you taking Brent Thomason's build?
Um, I don't actually know. There's like it's interesting because Brent, like, obviously, like one of the best players in the world. I don't want to say he's like stubborn. I feel like he kind of just like sticks with something. I don't know, like if he still just believes that it's the best way to play something, but I feel like sometimes he just like sticks with something that he did recently because he had put the time and effort into it, so he doesn't want to like adjust and wants to kind of maximize his preparation with that.
He
Maybe.
does usually stick with a deck through a format.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even talking like a little bit more specifically like about like a way to play deck. Like he played Noctowl and Reggie Drago for so long, right? And I'm not saying it was like a bad way to play the deck, but it's like I wonder if he just like even commits to that sometimes. Where it's like even if he thought Zorak was maybe better going to Monterey, he's like, no, I'm just gonna stick with what I've been prepping with. And would maybe even like if he's going to a tournament this weekend, would still stick with it, even if he thought Zorak was better. I'm not sure how he like thinks about that. I've never kind of asked him about that, but um my experience with Gardevoir is very little right now. So I would say I don't think you can go wrong by picking up either of these builds. They both seem pretty good. One is definitely better. So I'm not gonna like I'm gonna say that for sure because that's just how Pokemon works. There's an optimal way to play Gardevoir. It's one of them. It could be neither of them. It could be something undiscovered as well, but
It's probably one of those.
it's probably one of those. And if you don't want to spend time trying to discover something brand new, then you can't really go wrong with either of them as a starting point, I guess I would say. I kind of like the idea of Brent's more from like a simplicity standpoint of it's like if they're pretty close and one of them's simpler, I would prefer to like lean towards that personally. So if I had to pick up one of those two to like prep for a major tournament this weekend or next weekend or soon, then I'd probably start with Brent's build for sure. And if I feel like that's good enough and I don't really need to like really dig for something further because it doesn't feel quite good enough, then I just rock that till the major. So I would lean towards that. Yeah, Brent, I was gonna say Brent usually sticks with the deck for a long time, except for when he randomly plays Archaladon. Um,
Yeah,
puts
that
down
was
the
a
PDIF to pick up Archaladon sometimes, but
that was a bit of a curveball. He played, yeah, Archelidon Dialga in Vancouver.
yeah, that was definitely interesting. I remember asking him about it. He's like, "I just didn't want to play Dragapult." Like, that's what he literally said. He just didn't want to play Dragapult. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have any other thoughts besides that, but I feel like you can't go wrong with starting with either of them if you want. I would favor Brent's over the Zoroark build though.
Yeah, I think either build, whichever one I played, I would probably just play for research. I don't think I would mess with the Morty's Conviction. I don't know that like Zoroark makes playing Morty's necessarily a much better thing, right? I don't know that it makes a difference really. Um
Which allows you to build on the hand, like having a support when you're like drawing up.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so it does. Okay, never
there's a
mind.
little synergy there. Yeah,
I'm just thinking about kind of the early game. I like really heavily will favor like the early game consistency usually when choosing a
yeah.
deck, and
I
I
mean,
think
everyone. I think Henry put out there, or someone, one of the, it was Henry or Bradner probably put out there that caught a Morty add second Jack. So we saw every list basically at Monterey copied that. We saw a lot of the Zork, but like the highest placing Zork Guardy, and then we even saw Hegster, Ethan doing that as well. So
oh yeah, we didn't talk about this during Monterey recap, but I gotta give a big shout outs to my boys Pablo and Ethan for getting top 32 in Monterey, holding it down for the casters. Also, Mohammed Ideas getting top 32 as well. He's the stream SME backstage. So the production crew had a pretty good showing. Just want to throw
yeah,
that out there.
they're killing it, bro. So they can still hang. Now you got to step up, Chip. Come
Well,
on.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you have
Listen, bro.
to.
Kid number two
to
on the way. I don't know that I'm playing any major tournaments anytime soon, to be honest. I had my shots. I kind of blew them. That it is what it is. I
I
got to
think
live with
Pablo.
that forever.
I think actually Pablo literally just played the 60 that Brent played at from Atlanta, and Ethan played the updated
Yeah.
Zoro Guardy build. But the, like I said, the second Jax was like the only addition, the only change. So yeah,
Yeah.
like no Turo, third counter catcher, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. Maybe make that change. And also, like it like we're down to one Morty at this point. Maybe that should just be a third research, right? Like if we're like, we obviously don't value that Morty that much. If one of them's getting the
Mm.
axe, so maybe the other one just follows suit. I don't hate that.
So I think the two biggest surprises from Top Cut were definitely Joltig Box and Blissey. Obviously, Blissey, I think, kind of leading the charge there. Yeah, I mean, do you think we're going to see more from those decks at any of these tournaments? Are they here to stay? Are we going to see another Blissey in Top Cut of one of these three events?
um, so I was saying for like, let's see, it's like it is like it's not a deck that you can just kind of force into every single meta in a format. It's kind of got to wait around. This one seemed fine for Blissey. Um, Moving forward, I think it'll still be fine, but I don't think it's anything crazy. I've honestly, one thing I think that like actually was missing from this tournament was Garver wasn't that successful. I expected Garver to be a little bit more successful, like one more, maybe two more in top cut. So actually, I think it is unfavorable that matchup, especially if we're looking at like at the Brent list, having to go up against that as Blissey more. So actually, I think moving forward, Blissey's gonna become a worse play. It was like a fine play for this tournament, I think overall. Solid deck, piloted by literally the last year's world champion, right? So moving forward, I would say Blissey does not seem that good, but I do think the Joltik deck has more depth to it in terms of just matchup percentage, meta percentage, whatever. Just like it can do more in the meta.
Yeah, I think we're definitely much more likely to see the um the Joltig deck for sure. I mean, I think that deck it was kinda just a matter of time before it got a little bit of a hold in the metagame.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna continue as this format moves forward to see it keep creeping up and up, and Blissey is gonna just kind of remain like a 2-3% deck,
yeah,
and maybe once in a while someone has a run is playing for a top 8, maybe it makes another top 8 at some point in the format, but, um, I could definitely also just see it being a one and done type of deck for sure. But
yeah, yeah. If the meta changes though, like, this coming up weekend, I don't think it's great. But 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, if Dragapult becomes more dominant, which could happen, or the meta just gets narrower and, like, people move away from, like, specifically Raging Ball and Gardevoir, then it could be, like, a pretty good play. But I think, like, coming up right now, this week, next week, it doesn't seem great.
it's gotta be pretty good against some of the other stuff, like I mean, it's gonna be pretty bad against, I guess, like, um, you mentioned Raging Bolt, any of the
Yep,
Roaring Moon decks, like, just knock it out, right? That's pretty good.
yep,
Um, with some of the other stuff like Archaladon, like, it's
pretty
gotta
good.
destroy Archaladon, right?
Yeah. Anything that can't one-hit KO a Blissey is usually pretty good, and you would assume that Golden Go gets included in that, but actually the Golden Go matchup's pretty good depending on the partner Pokemon.
Right.
'Cause there's the Cornerstone. You can just play Cornerstone Monkey Dory the whole game. You don't actually set up Blissey's. Just sit there with your Cornerstone in the active, and you set up you can set up 4 Monkey Dories and just heal it 120 damage every single every
Yep.
single turn. So, I mean, if they can get to their Dragapult, but we saw a lot of, like, the Dragonpult Golden Goes were, like, no Crispins, 1 Fire, 1 Psychic, 1 Dragapult EX. You prize any of those pieces, you're not attacking with it. Even if you don't prize those pieces, you're probably getting boss punched because Blissey plays 4 boss and you play 1 Dragapult EX, 1 Fire, 1 Psychic. So, it's gonna be tough to keep up with that.
Will Roaring Moon have a breakthrough at any point this weekend? It had a little bit of a coming out party with the 10th place finish. Is this a deck people are gonna kinda make note of and give it some time, give it its due diligence? Will we see someone pick it up and have success with it?
I think between this build and the poison build, if we're talking about this build specifically, I think there might be something there. It's definitely interesting. Like I said, I need to actually play with the deck. Um, I don't think the deck was great before, but that was a different format. That was a different metagame. Right now, I could see this deck actually being pretty solid. I do need to, like, actually put some timing with it, but
Probably the last time you played this deck as well, Fan Rotom didn't exist.
it didn't have Fan Rotom. That is true. And we
That's gotta be a
also,
big boost as well.
yeah, yeah, definitely. We did lose Dark Patch, but we still have the E switches, so we can get our
Well,
EX
you're also
activated.
mostly attacking with Little
Yeah,
Moon,
yeah. It
and you
is like
don't
a Little
need
Moon deck
Dark Patch to
first.
attack with this guy, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I think there could be something here for sure. I'm not writing this one off. I'm actually writing Blissey off. That's just because of, like, my experience with this deck is less. I'm writing Blissey off more heavily than I'm writing this deck off, to be honest. Like, moving forward.
What do you think the best way is to play Golden Go? Is it gonna be Golden Go Dragapult? Is that the wave moving forward? We talked about how that was kind of the deck that was dominating Monterey before the, top cut kinda got ironed out.
Yeah, I mean, the Dragapult's kind of cool. That extra attacking option, like, the most powerful attack in the game is Dragapult, maybe besides Sylveon, right? But that's like a whole different story.
Yeah, I
The most
saw that,
powerful attack
that
that gets
clickbait
used.
YouTube video did pretty good for you this week, huh?
I mean, it is. It's like the most powerful attack in the game. It's insane. Um, but honestly, I wasn't that big of a fan of Golden Go Dragapult going to Atlanta. I think it was a fine play. And I think it was actually better at Atlanta than it was going into this tournament for sure. Going to this tournament, I think Dragapult became worse. And moving forward, I think it becomes worse still. The only question would be, like, how popular are going to be the solo stone techs? Like, how popular is Tank Terrapagos or uh, Terra Box even going to be, and are they even going to play their own cornerstone? So if it's going to be popular, if it basically just comes down to solo stone percentage, because I think Dragon Ball probably handles solo stone better than any other Golden Go build. But if you don't expect solo stone, I feel like it's just better to play Zoroark or Revavroom or no tech inclusion, like what Bodie Robinson did at Atlanta. So
Take the L.
yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Golden Go Dragapult. I think a lot of its success is a product of the players who chose to play it, more so than the archetype itself, or the not just Golden Go, like the version of the archetype, right? I don't think
Yeah.
that is the main driver for its success. I think it's the group of players that played it more so than anything.
I think the straight golden I really liked Bodie's list from Atlanta. I like that version of like that. I feel like that is just kind of how I like decks. You know, straight, streamlined, straightforward. It's doing what it's aiming to do every single time.
Yeah.
But sometimes like the meta may call for a little bit of a different play, a different change, right?
Yeah, like, I think, and I even saw someone played, like, basically Bodhi's List, but plus Rocky Helmet, right? Pikachu's out there with the Joltik deck and Terra Box, so having that tool card for Pikachu seems pretty good right now.
Um, all right, let's talk now about the Noctowl decks. So what we have written in here is where does Terrapago stand? But let's actually just like kind of talk about the Noctowl decks in general, because I think like coming into the formats, is hyped up as kind of one of the big draw engines. We lost so much with no Radiant Greninja. There's no Bibarel anymore. Our draw options are a little bit more limited. N- Noctowl kind of becomes one of the main pieces early in the format. And looking at this tournament, I mean, there's a Terror Box, there's the Raging Bolt in top eight, but it's not like Noctowl is dominant, has become like a dominant draw engine in the game, or a support engine, I should say.
Yeah.
Kind of where do you think these Noctowl decks stand? And if you wanted to go with a Noctowl engine deck, which one are you going with?
Honestly, I'm not too keen on Terra Box. I think, like, even though I don't like Noctowl in the deck that much, I think I would go Raging Bolt if I was gonna play a Noctowl deck.
Yeah.
I
I
think
like
Raging
the
Bolt feels
idea
the
of
best.
I like the Raging Bolt, to be honest, still. I've always kinda liked Raging Bolt, but, yeah, I mean, I think All Out Blitzel posted he won, like, an online event with the same 60 that he played to Atlanta, really kinda still believes in that deck.
I mean, like,
You gonna flame the kid?
won an online tournament, like, we know that's gonna happen, bro. But when it comes to the the big leagues, we know he's not
Oh,
gonna show. No, I'm
not gonna
joking.
show. Holy cow, this guy.
No, Blitzel's more than proven himself at this point for sure. No, yeah, I think it is because I'm not a big fan of Terror Box. It doesn't feel great. I mean, the big thing for Terror Box is just like, um, are I think the big thing for Terror Box is just like, are the what's it called decks gonna cut Dragapult's ever gonna cut Unfair Stamp, because that's just really hard to overcome their Unfair Stamp,
Yeah.
for sure. And I have like people playing Genesect to shut down your Crystal. Like, all the Golden Go decks have Vengeful Punch or something like that, because now there's more Pikachu with the Joltik deck on the radar. It's like, oh well, now this guy's entering the meta and it's making it harder for me, because before people weren't playing like that many of the Vengeful Punches and stuff. There's some people had the Rocky Helmets and stuff, but now there's even more of them. So it's like, but I feel like Raging Bolt isn't really getting. I just don't think Raging Bolt Noctowl is that good of a deck, but it's not really getting like focused at all in the meta. So I think if I had to pick a Noctowl deck, I think it would be Raging Bolt Noctowl right now. I would want to say EV Box, but I feel like EV Box's Gardevoir matchup is just pretty bad. So no matter how much I like the deck, it's Gardevoir matchup is just too tough. I just rate I hold Gardevoir as like one of those decks like you just need to be able to beat it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, definitely.
trying to do well, you're trying to win the tournament. Gardevoir and Dragon Bolt got to be the top two you're worried about.
Golden Go, honestly, at this point, it's probably gotta be up there too.
Yeah, sure, we can throw it in the mix. It's definitely proven its popularity. And even then, it's kind of funny for us to say that because, like, I would be fine taking a bad Raging Bolt matchup every day of the week right now,
Yeah,
despite it
and
being
it's the second
40% of the
most
meta.
popular deck,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
I just don't care. I'll take the L to Raging Bolt all day if I can shore up those other matchups.
I mean, that's what everyone was doing whenever we were playing Reggie Drago, right? Whenever Raging Bolt was the second most popular deck.
Yeah, people were like, "I'm just gonna outplay him, or it's just not gonna succeed." And then we had like there was it had its moments where it popped up and did do well. Caleb winning, Vincent Owen getting with
Yeah.
the top four, and it looked like Vincent was actually gonna take that one down. Didn't end up happening, but Um, its moments are so far and few between, especially when it goes from like what 12% to 7% in
Yeah.
meta shares most tournaments. So like, oh,
Is Dusknor now the worst partner for Dragapult?
it's so tough to say, to be honest. I think it's still probably good. I think both builds are just good. Um, yeah, you can go no Dustnor. You can play the Dustnor still. I don't see like a huge advantage to not playing Dustnor in Dragapult, and obviously like the potential when you have Dust on your deck is just so high. Like, you wanna play it if you can. Um, as long as the deck still feels good, I guess. I mean, for me personally, I don't want to play it because I just don't like playing Dusknoir, but the card is just so powerful. Like, if you're trying to, like, be as powerful, give yourself the best chance to win tournaments, like, being able to play Dusknoir in your deck cleanly and efficiently feels pretty good, so yeah, despite its, like, lack of success, I guess I would say here, because none of them made cut. We had 2 non-Dusknoir Dragapults make cut. I still feel like it's still probably a fine deck, and I think you do have a better Gardevoir matchup. I think both of them are in favor against Gardevoir, but I think it's better with Dusknoir.
I think we are gonna start to see the shift of looking at, like, the overall
Yeah,
Dragapult Dusknoir 19%, straight Dragapult, where is it? I'm going right, oh, there it is, 4%, like, that's a little too uneven, right? We're gonna see that start to shift.
yeah, I think for sure. Yeah, we're gonna start to see that even out closer to 50-50 probably, as the format continues to evolve. Oh, I wonder if Charizard Dragapult is being thrown in that combined percentage there. I think it is.
Yeah, it definitely is, it definitely
Yeah.
is.
I guess that makes sense. It's like a 2/2 Charizard, but a 4/4/4 Dragon or a 4/4/2 Dragapult, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. It is part of the squad. It's part of the squad.
Yeah.
You definitely know the worst way to play Dragapult for sure, and that is Dragapult Charizard.
But is what's the worst way to play Charizard?
Dragapult to or Charizard to Dunsparce is probably
Is that something people are doing?
Yeah,
Charizard
actually,
to
no,
Dunsparce?
I'm honestly, that might be the best way to play Charizard. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know the best way to play Charizard. It actually was the most successful way to play Charizard at this tournament. Charizard to
Oh, snap,
Dunsparce.
we didn't even talk about
Yeah.
this. I haven't seen this.
Yeah. Yeah, people have been doing the Charizard to Dunsparce thing for a little while.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if this is good. Oh, Charizard's
Enriching
okay.
energy as well. Hold
I
on.
I know this is bad because Charizard is so bad. This could still be the best way to play Charizard, though.
Dude, I don't
Like,
know, bro. You get a 2/2
I
Rapskilly
know,
in
I
there.
know. At least
2/2 Rapskilly.
there's the Dunsparce EX in here. I can say that at the very least. At least the EX made its way into the deck.
That's so funny. This other Charizard deck played Ho-Oh.
Was that KO Ogerpon? I guess
Yeah,
KOs.
yeah, Cornerstone. Yep, yep. That's your Cornerstone counter.
I feel like the Chiyus are just better. 3 energy. Chiyus attack for 2.
This thing doesn't die to Cornerstone though.
Oh, I was saying Grass Ogerpon, but I guess maybe
I'm
you
talking
might
about
be right.
Cornerstone,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This might be your cornerstone answer. We don't well, I guess it has Defiance, so you could theoretically one hit KO it actually. Or you could get Dusclops involved, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure, sure. I don't hate it. I do hate Charizard, but I don't hate that as the I gotta make sure people don't get it twisted. Um,
Let's do some predictions for the tournaments this week. I mean, we're gonna mostly, I think for these predictions, we're just gonna be focusing on Seville, even though there is
yeah,
the Philippines and there is Johannesburg. Seville's the one where we're gonna have the most data to kind of look into these things. So that's what we're
yeah.
gonna go with here. And it's also gonna be the biggest by far. Actually, I don't know. I don't know how big the Philippines Master Ball League tournament will be, but
Yeah, I don't know how big those are usually. I think it
all
will
right.
be, like, still quite a bit bigger than it, though.
How many Monkey Dory will there be in cut? I think Monkey Dory has kind of low key established itself as like the best card in the format. That's like not a specific deck, you know?
Yeah.
It's like that then Badoo.
Most game changing, most powerful. I mean, a lot of decks are playing it right now. Like, if you look at the top cut from Monterey, all the Golden Ghosts play one of, the Dragapults are not Dusknoir, and even some of the Dragapult Dusknoirs play one of as well. Joltik and
All I'm
Raging
saying,
both don't have it.
when I looked at your stream today and you were playing Blissey, that you had 4 Monkey Dory on your bench. So
It did come up. Gardevoir's like playing 2 to 3 of them. I mean, if Blissey makes cut, that's 4 right there. I'm not predicting Blissey to make cut again though, so I'm gonna go with give me. I want to see a little bit more from Gardevoir. I like to think Gardevoir is like underperforming actually. Um, I underperformed this weekend. Maybe it didn't underperform for Atlanta for the playwright, but I think now that the playwright's up there, I expected more from Monterey from Gardevoir. So I think we're gonna see 2, 3, 4 Gardevoir in cut at Seville, 2 or 3 probably. So I'm gonna go with 8 Monkey Dory, 9,
bro,
8,
if you
eight and a
think there's gonna
half.
be 4 Gardevoir
No,
in
probably like
cut,
2 to 3. Let's go
okay.
with. Well,
The
let's see if
back
there's.
pedal is crazy.
It's gonna be 2. It'll be 2 Gardevoir probably. So that's 6. Let's go with 9 Monkey Dory in cut. Could be less than 6. Yeah, let's just go with 9. Let's lock in 9.
Bro,
It could be 2.
I'm going heavy on
Oh
the
my
Gardevoir
gosh.
here. Heavy on the Gardevoir. I'm thinking there's gonna be 3 plus, and then another 2 Dragapults, so 9, 10, 11, 11 or 12. I'm thinking Where I'll go with 11.
Okay.
But it's gonna be 3 Gardevoir and 2 Dragapult. No
Okay.
Golden Go.
So
Actually,
the
no, 1 Golden Go gets
Ooh.
in there, 12.
And will they would be non-Dusknoir Dragapults? Some of the Dusknoir ones do play the Monkey Dory still,
That is
so
true, but yeah, mostly non-Dusknoir. But you know what? There'll be a non-Dusknoir, but that one won't, or there will be a Dusknoir, but that one won't play Monkey Dory.
yeah. Oh, one thing that I honestly, we should have maybe ooh, okay, I didn't even look at it yet. Do we have one more prediction to do? Let's do this last prediction or these last couple predictions, then I'll bring it up as we
Oh,
close it out here.
oh snap. Next one
Alright.
is, what is the highest placing fan Rotom deck going to be?
So yeah, no, not what deck it is, but how high will Fan Rotom get in the
Yes.
tournament?
Yeah.
And I was saying I'd want to play Raging Bolt as I'm going top 16. I'm going top 16 for Fan Rotom.
And it's going to be Raging Bolt
Not
for the
really
little
Raging Bolt. I
prediction within
guess
the
yeah.
prediction.
I mean, if it's like the Moon deck, I wouldn't be like that. That'd be cool to see the Moon deck get up there with the Fan Rotoms. But it's gonna be top 16, and it won't make asymmetrical cut. It's gonna win it into. It's gonna win up to top 16.
I'm gonna give a Terapagos deck a top 8 or a top cut.
Okay, okay.
I'll say top
Reasonable.
8 just for simplicity, but maybe
Yeah.
it's ASIM. And then lastly, pick a player to make cut.
Oh man, I should have thought. I didn't even think about this one very hard, to be honest. Dude, give me Stefan, bro. I assume. Oh, I don't know if Stefan's going though. I like. It is I feel like Stefan usually goes to the special events. Actually, Stefan usually goes to the special events. Um,
Does oops.
that's what some of the players don't because there's no there's no money to win. So some of the players who are already like probably gonna get their invite, players like Stefan, sometimes don't make their way to the special events. But I feel like Stefan still goes to special events.
Yeah,
And then
he's usually showing up, I feel like.
I went to
Um,
Utrecht. We're in. Yeah, yeah. I'm confident. Yeah, let's go with Stefan. Hopefully Stefan shows up. Oh wait, no. I got a better pick than that. Wait, I don't even know if he's going. No, I don't think he's not going. I know he's not going. Yeah, so give me Stefan. Give me Stefan.
who are you gonna say?
Yella, but I'm pretty sure Yella's not
Mm,
going. Yeah.
all right, Azul's going with Stefan. I'm gonna go with in his home country of Spain. Gave me Pedro Eugenio Torres.
All right. Good bet. Good bet.
I feel like it's been, what was Pedro's last top cut actually?
Might have been the one he won. No, he's maybe had a top. No, might actually his
It
last top cut
was,
might have been the win with Sablezard.
yeah, yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I'll give it to Pedro here. Show up,
Like he's due.
defend the turf.
Yeah.
He's got to play faster though, bro. I swear that every time I look at that guy's day 2 record,
Pedro has a lot of ties.
4 or
Yeah.
5 ties every single time. We got to scoop some game ones. We got to pick up the pace, Pedro. Come on, buddy.
Yeah. Maybe he should just like after he wins game one, just concede game two instantly and just go to game three.
Make sure there's plenty of time for game 3.
Yeah.
All right, what were you gonna bring up? Let's hear it.
All right. So NAIC wave one just
Oh, true.
concluded. So if you're trying to register for it and you just didn't know that, wave two is happening today. I believe at 7 p. Oh wait, this one's happening at 7 a.m. Actually, maybe it's gonna happen before 7 a.m. CDT. Wait, what is CDT? Central?
Central, yeah.
Oh, okay. So
So
7 a.m. West
if
Coast.
you listened to the start of the episode and you're listening to this now, you missed it.
Yeah. You missed it. So that's not gonna be very helpful. But the interesting part I was gonna bring up was the numbers. Cause I mean, something I'm curious about is how many players are there gonna be? There's currently 3,167 players registered for NAIC with a wave to go, but it's usually not split equally. It's usually more in the first wave, right, than the second wave.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going over 4K, but that is all 4 division or all 3 divisions. So will we have 4K masters at NAIC? I don't know. Have to wait
Yeah,
and
so I have
see.
to imagine that because a decent amount of people get early access to registering, right? At
Yeah,
this
it
point
was
now.
222. At this morning I checked.
Oh, okay.
I had priority registration.
Yeah, so probably around 3,000 or just under 3,000 spots.
Yeah, we're in wave 1. So wave
Another
2,
2,000, 5,000 total cap, TCG.
maybe, and then that is 4,000 masters probably, but then some no-shows, some, entry for just the swag. It'll probably be under 4K, probably like 3,800 or something would be my guess if we do hit, uh there's gonna be a lot of juniors and seniors for sure, like 400, 500 juniors and seniors
It's gonna be massive.
each. Yeah. It's gonna be exciting, it's gonna be exciting. But yeah, that's all I
Right.
want to bring up. I guess we'll report on that again next week, the final numbers, or most likely the final numbers. And they haven't been. I feel like the last couple ICs they haven't done like an extra wave. They're like been they I think they seem pretty locked on their numbers for the ICs. Like regionals, there usually is a little bit extra that happens if it sells out really fast. But I feel like ICs have been pretty locked as of late.
All right, Azul, I think that's gonna do it for our episode this week. You got anything else you want to say before we get over to the bonus episode?
Oh, send us out.
Appreciate you guys' support as always. Thanks so much for listening. And if you did enjoy, be sure to leave us a like, a review, a comment, and subscribe. Those things help us out a bunch, help more people to discover the podcast, what we're doing over here. We've also got a new video coming out today, the day you're listening to this on the Uncommon Energy channel. Be sure to check it out. Azul and I did a retro rematch of an iconic Pokemon TCG battle. So be sure to check it out. We had a lot of fun doing it, and I think that's a series that we're going to continue moving forward with as well, assuming this one does well. And you guys seem to like it. Um, and yeah, if you want to stay up to date with us, the best place to do it is over on X. You can follow myself at Chip Ritchie, Azul at Azul underscore GG, and you can follow the podcast at Uncommon underscore Energy.
Appreciate the support as always. Good luck to everyone going to any of the tournaments this weekend. We got 3 of them going on, so good luck to everyone playing the tournaments, and we'll catch you all next Wednesday, 7 a.m. Eastern.